श्रीमद् भक्तिवेदांत वामंग से महाराज की जय। नित्य लीला कृष्ण विष्णुपाद स्तोत्र सत्य श्री श्रीमद् भक्तिवेदांत चिविकम महाराज की जय। नित्य लीला कृष्ण विष्णुपाद स्तोत्र सत्य श्री श्रीमद् भक्ति जीवन जनार्दन महाराज की जय। नित्य लीला कृष्ण विष्णुपाद स्तोत्र सत्य श्री श्रीमद् भक्ति वैभवपुरी गोस्वामी महाराज की जय। नित्य लीला कृष्ण विष्णुपाद स्तोत्र सत्य श्री श्रीमद् भक्ति प्रमोदपुरी गोस्वामी महाराज की जय। नित्य लीला कृष्ण विष्णुपाद स्तोत्र सत्य श्री श्रीमद् भक्ति कमल गोविंद महाराज की जय। नित्य लीला कृष्ण विष्णुपाद स्तोत्र सत्य श्री श्रीमद् भक्ति सिद्धांत सरस्वती गोस्वामी ठाकुर प्रभुपाद की जय। श्रीला भक्ति विनोद ठाकुर की जय। श्रीला गौर किशोर दास बाबू जी महाराज की जय। श्री जगन्नाथ दास बाबू जी महाराज की जय की जय। श्री निरोम श्रीनिवास श्यामानंद प्रभु जय की जय। श्री रूप सनातन भट्ट रघुनाथ श्री जीव गोपाल भट्ट रासनाथ सभी स्वामी की जय। प्रेम से खो श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत आग्रहार शिवाश्री गौर भक्तवृंद श्री अंतविक मायपुर श्रीमंतविक कौलविक जानविक मौर्य रूमविक रूढ़ विभव कशी नवदीप धाम की जय। वृंदावन धाम की जय। नरसिंह भगवान की जय। भक्तराज श्री प्रहलाद महाराज की जय। चार संप्रदाय की जय। अनंत कोटि वैष्णववृंद की जय। समस्त भक्तवृंद की जय। श्री श्री प्रेमानंदे हरि हरि बोल। Dhanavats to all. Today I'm going to sing a Gaura bhajan. I'm not sure what page it is in the book, but I'm going to sing Emona Gauranga Bina Nahiyar. Yeah. Emon Gauranga Bina Nahiyar. Emon Gauranga Bina Nahiyar. Emon Gauranga Bina Nahiyar. Emon Gauranga Bina Nahiyar. Heno avatar habe ki hoiche. Heno prema parachar. Heno avatar habe ki hoiche. Heno prema parachar. Mon Gauranga bina nahi aaye. Gauranga bina nahi aaye. Duramarti ati pati tapasali prane namari lokare. Hari nama diya hridaya shodhilo jache giya gare ghare. Jache giya gare ghare. Mon Gauranga bina nahi aaye. Mon Gauranga bina nahi aaye. Bhava virinchira vanchita je prema jagate phelila dhali. Bhava virinchira vanchita je prema jagate phelila dhali. Kangale Paya khailo nachiya. Kangale paya khailo nachiya. Bajaiya karav tali. Bajaiya karav tali. Gauranga bina nahi aaye. Gauranga bina nahi aaye. Hasiya kariya preme garagari. Phulake vyapiro anga. Chandale brahmane kare kola kuli. Chandale brahmane Kare kola kuli kabe vachila iranga kabe vachila iranga emon gauranga bina nahi emon gauranga bina nahi Dakiya hatiya khola kara tale gaya dhaiya phire dekhiya shamana tarasa paiya dekhiya shamana tarasa paiya kapata hanilo dvare kapata hanilo dvare gauranga bina nahi gauranga bina nahi chetina bhuvana आनंद भारिला उठिलो मंगल सोरा एतिना भुवन आनंद भारिला उठिलो मंगल सोरा कहे प्रेमानंद यमुन गौरंगे कहे प्रेमानंद यमुन गौरंगे रतिन जन्मिलो मोरा रतिन जन्मिलो मोरा यमुन गौरंग बिना नाही यमुन गौरंग बिना नाही हे नय अवतार हबे की होइछे हेनो प्रेम परक्षा एमन गौरंग बिना नाही एमन गौरंग बिना नाही जय सचिनंदन जय गौर हरि सचिनंदन जय गौर हरि जय नदिया बिहारी जय गौर हरि संकीर्तन बिहारी जय गौर हरि जय गुरुदेवा जय गुरुदेवा गुरुदेवा जय गुरुदेवा निताय गौरा हरि बोल हरि बोल हरि बोल निताय गौरा हरि बोल निताय गौरा हरि बोल हरि बोल हरि बोल निताय गौरा हरि बोल निताय गौरा प्रेमानंदे हरि बोल. Sorry, today I don't have. I was just gonna say I don't have any instruments, but
yes, you do. You have your voice, which is your whole body, which is like a flute. So it's beautiful.
The main thing. Thank you very much.
All the way from the Isle of Wight. Well done, Marlene. Thank you.
Okay, Haribo.
Haribo. Anarpita charim chirat karunaya vatirna kalau. Samapayitum unato jvala rasham sva bhakti shriyam hari purata sundaradyuti kandamba sandipita sada hidaya kandare spurato vasachi nandana vanchakalpa turbischa kripa sindhuevacha patitanam pavenabhyo vaishnavabhyo namanamaha. Om Gyan Tirumandasya Gyanjana Salakya Chakshurmilitamina Tashma Ishi Guru Namaha Trinada Pisunichina Tarora Pisa Ishnuna Amanina manadina kitni sarahari. Katenu kampam susamik shamano. Bunjarevatma kitam vipakam. Hitvak vapubi vididam namoshte. Jivata yomukti sata baya bak. Vachavigam manashakoravigam. Jivavigam udurapastavigam. Etam vegam yovishesheta Yovishaheta dira savamapimam pritvim sasusyat anyablasta sunyam gyan kamadina vritam anukalenya krishna shilanam bhakti utama Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadata Shivasdi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare Hare. Dandavat pranams, dear beloved, beautiful devotees. My Dandavat pranams to all the assembled devotees and all of those that are going to be watching this on a recording. Whether you are in America, South America, Europe, Asia, or Australasia, the Antipodes, we welcome you wholeheartedly to this Gurudev program. I'm going to do an extra special clock this week. Normally, I just give the time of this week, but I'm going to show the advancement from last week. So today is our 38th program out of 64. So if 64 were a human day, by the end of this session, we're at 2:25 p.m. But if you like time in terms of the day of Brahma, we've progressed along the 9th Manu. There are 14 Manus. And we've gone from the 6th Chatu Yuga to the 22nd Chatu Yuga. And instead of being in the Treta Yuga, we're now 648,000 years into the Satya Yuga. And we have a beautiful lineup today, this morning, this afternoon. We're firstly going to be going over to Australia to our delightful Srimati Chandramukhi Didi over in Murwillumbah. And then we'll be staying in Australia for Vaishnavi Didi in Adelaide, I think that's in the province of South Australia, if I'm not mistaken. And then we'll be going across to Delhi, where we'll be hearing from Sriman Tamal Krishna Prabhu and his wife, Srimati Indu Devi Dasi from Delhi. So before I introduce Chandramukhi Didi, Yashodhari, is there anything you'd like to add? Or shall I crack on? Okay. So Chandramukhi Didi, I'll give you a very warm introduction. I know you very well. And Chandramukhi Didi was born into a devotee family. Her parents were disciples of Srila Prabhupada and Srila Rakshak Sridhar Maharaj. And so she was brought up in an ISKCON school. And she met Gurudev on his first his first tour to Australia, which was 1997. And she took Harinam and Diksha that year. And her seva that she's been instructed to do is to teach the teachings of Srila Gurudev. That's the order that Gurudev gave her. And I actually remember being in a wonderful class, which I hold dear today because I actually remember it. She did a fantastic exposition on the Das Mula back in Puri in 2000, I think it was 2012. You remember that, did he? And I still remember, I still have that to memory. So you did a very, very good class on that. She's a fantastic teacher and a mother, beautiful mother. Unfortunately, her baby's asleep, so there'll be no interruptions today, but fortunately for her. And I have to say, one of her great qualities is, that whenever you do any seva with her, if she says she's going to do something, she really does it. You never have any anxiety that she's not going to be in communication or she's not going to get it done. She's got a very lucky husband there. That's all I can say. And a very lucky daughter. So Chandramukhi Didi, very warm welcome. Please offer us your Pushpanjali, my dear.
Thank you, Yashodanandan Prabhu, for such a warm welcome. And I feel very grateful to be here with all of you, Gurudev's family. It's the best place to be, really. Gurudev is our heart and soul. So I'll just offer my pranams. Om Jnana Timirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshun Militam Nina Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Nama Om Vishnupadaya Radhikaya Priyatmane Shishimad Bhaktivedanta Narayanitina Namine Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prasthaya Bhutale Shrimati Bhakti Vedanta Swaminiti Namine Vanchakalpatarubhyas Chakripasindubhya Vichapatitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Namo Mahavidanaya Krishna Prema Pradayate Krishnaya Krishna Chaitanya Namani Gauratase Namaha Hey Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dina Bandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vishwabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Brindai Tosadevi Priya Keshavasacha Krishna Bhakti Prati Devi Satyavate Namo Namaha Vanchakalpatarubhyas Chakripasindubhya Vachapatitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadha Shivasari Gaura Bhaktivinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. So when I go to remember Gurudev, there's so many floods of memories that come, and trying to isolate what to say in half an hour is difficult. I thought I'd talk about today a little bit about my how Gurudev came into my life, and reminds me of one of his books. I think it's Nectar of Govinda Leela, where he's speaking about Nishanta Bhajan, and he's saying in there that at the Nishanta Bhajan is Bhajan at the end of the night, and because Nishanta Leela is Krishna's, corresponds with Nishanta Leela, which is Krishna's pastimes at the end of the night. So Nishanta Bhajan is the end of the night when darkness is about to finish and the daylight is coming, and that is, you know, that is when Sadhu Sangha, when the pure devotee comes into our life, it is like that the sun is just about, the darkness of our material existence is just about to finish, and the light of bhakti is arising. And so, yeah, when I think of Gurudev coming into my life, it feels like that, you know, his transcendental presence, and, you know, picking me up off the, picking the train of my life up off the certain rail or tracks that was going on, and putting it on the right tracks, and yeah, like giving that nourishment, and where you feel like you're completely at home, and knowing that, yes, having darshan of such a personality in our life means guaranteed that our this material existence is very soon finishing and the dawn of bhakti is coming. So I just remember when Srila Gurudev came to Tumawilava the first time, he stayed not so far from us, about 5 minutes down the road actually, and he stayed at one devotee's house, Devendranath Prabhu, who had invited Srila Gurudev there, and Srila Gurudev was traveling with, there was about 30 people traveling with him at the time, and he was actually hosting all of them. And somehow or other it kind of got a bit too much for him, and he was kind of restricting things a bit too much, and it was I mean, you can imagine there's a lot of people there. And anyhow, just before I go on that train, I guess I'm on that train, I thought I might as well continue here, because he ended up staying at our house and it was like quite a beautiful thing, because yeah, it was like it was getting too intense for them there, and then it was like all of a sudden Gurudev landed on our house, our doorstep in one morning. But when I was going to see Srila Gurudev, it was like he was just so much love and affection. You could just feel in hearing his Hari Katha, so much love and affection, and it felt like everything was from the heart. The kirtan that Krishna Das was leading was from the heart. The devotees and the way they related to you were speaking to you from the heart. Srila Gurudev was speaking from his heart, and I just felt like, and I know others felt like that, my heart just opened and feel like, oh yes, Krishna consciousness is where I need to be. I mean, I was 17 years old at the time, and kind of like, not that I was questioning anything really, but you know, you're kind of thinking, well, where am I going in my life now, and what am I doing? And you know, it really kind of brought Krishna consciousness alive, even though I had been grown up in a devotee family. Everything became so charged and alive, like the Gurudev songs, the everything just became alive. And anyways, So, and I used to take photos a lot. I used to be right into photography, so I was taking photographs, and I remember thinking, I was only very young, thinking, oh, now I can use my photos in service of Krishna. And anyhow, one time, so during that time, while he was staying at Devendranath Prabhu's house, he came on a morning walk to my family's house, and then he did one program there, and so many more people came. And I remember when Srila Gurudev came up to our house, we greeted him, and my sister and I, we had some garlands, and we gave, and I remember looking into his blue eyes for the first time, and he said, I'll help you. And I took lots of photos that day because my father, Rajavallabha Prabhu, is actually my stepfather. He took Gurudev around our whole property, which is a very beautiful, like, little rainforest and garden and everything. And then at the end of that, he was sitting on the lawn on a seat, and we're all sitting around him. And my mother just said, "Everything is yours, Gurudev." And he said, "Yes, I will take." And and then he left, and my mother actually was grabbing his hand in the car. I've got a photo of it, grabbing his hand in the car, and she was just like pouring out so much love and affection. So it actually happened. We gave the property to Gurudev because a few days later he actually ended up coming to our house. So he did one program there, and then Rajanath Prabhu and the others, they arranged. They're saying it's getting very difficult where we're staying, and can we come and stay with you? So my sister was at school. She didn't know this was happening, but on that day the whole house was rearranged. We had tents pitched in the gardens, and Srila Gurudev descended on our house, which is just amazing. And for another 2 weeks, he was in Australia for 3 weeks that first year, and 2 weeks he stayed at our house, and then he stayed the next 3 years as well when he visited. And it was really sweet. In his letters, he would say, "I'm remembering my home in Glenelg Road, Murwillumbah." And so affectionate. I Srila Gurudev, I remember that first year especially, and of course in later years, but just so much love and affection just pouring from it. It just brought so many tears to my eyes, and everybody was just crying. Like, for example, we had his Vyasa Puja there while he was there. And he never got anybody to speak in those days. He didn't want anybody to glorify him. And that was in 1997. And I remember him doing an arti to his Gurudev and the Guru Parampara and on our altar. And then he sat down, and we were all offering Pushpanjali. And all of the men that would come and offer flowers to his lotus feet, he would just embrace them. He was on a couch. It wasn't a big vyasa, so it was a couch in our house. And yeah, he would just embrace them, and just so much that love and affection. And and I am, even though I'm a woman and I couldn't get that physical embrace, I felt that embracing, like by heart, so yeah. So you would know the book Pinnacle of Devotion, which is actually, when you were saying that first verse, Yashodananda Prabhu, that first verse you quoted, Anarpita Chunyam Chirat, that was actually the first time I heard the verse. That visit when Srila Gurudev was there, he was speaking from Chaitanya Charitamrita and establishing the goal and what Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu came to give. And he went through progressively through the first chapter of Chaitanya Charitamrita, and then the third and fourth chapters, very detailedly outlining the purpose of the Lord's descent, Mahaprabhu's descent, and how he's come to, in this age of Kali, after many, which is one day in Brahma, as you're describing, to give the highest mellow of conjugal love, the service of Srimati Radharani. So he went into so much detail, and it's all, the lectures are recorded in that book now, Pinnacle of Devotion. And at the time, I had actually previously taken Harinam, not Diksha, but Harinam from another guru. And when I was only 14 years old, and I was thinking, oh, why did I do that? This is my Gurudev. I don't want anybody else. This is my Gurudev. And I was feeling so upset that I'd taken Harinam from this other personality, and I'd actually seen him 3 weeks earlier, and didn't feel any heart connection, didn't feel like he knew me, didn't have like any kind of connection with him really. And there was, you know, I was kind of wondering, well, what, you know, what am I to do? And Srila Gurudev gave one of the classes he gave from Chaitanya Charitamrita. He was actually getting the devotees to read from Srila Prabhupada's Chaitanya Charitamrita throughout his class. He was getting the different purports. And one of the purports, I actually wrote it down today, I looked it up, and saying that Srila Jiva Goswami, this is Srila Prabhupada's purport, Srila Jiva Goswami advises that one should not accept a spiritual master in terms of hereditary or customary social and ecclesiastical convention. One should simply try to find a genuinely qualified spiritual master for actual advancement in spiritual understanding. So when I heard that, and others were talking to me about that as well, that you know, the guru-disciple relationship goes beyond you know, any formal thing, any, you know, that you've done because I actually only took Harinam from this other guru because my mother really wanted me to. And it was funny, that day after I took initiation, I felt like my heart sink. I was only 14 years old. I felt like my heart sink, like I'd done the wrong thing. And yeah, like anyway, so yeah, so I just was like, no, he's got to be my Gurudev. Anyway, after 2 weeks he was here, and we went to have a darshan with him. My mother, my sister and I were there, and just a few others are on the lawn. At my parents' property, they have a like a gazebo down in the forest, and that's where he was staying. So we were all sitting on the lawn outside, and my sister and I just burst out crying. We couldn't talk. And Gurudev said, be frank, like speak, what do you want to say? But my mother had to speak for us, and she asked for initiation. And he said, and she told him that I had taken Harinam initiation from Govinda Maharaj. And so he said to my sister, I'll give you initiation, but for you, which is me, I'll be your Shiksha Guru. And I was just devastated. I just cried even more. And then he started talking to some other devotees that were there. I think he was just testing me. I was just like, no, no. And he's and then he turns back to me and he said, don't worry, I have accepted you. He said, you should come on Vasant Panchami. And I didn't know what that was at that point. And then he said, he took his hands like this and cupped them. And he said, I want to, and he's looking at both me and my sister, and he said, I want to take your tears and offer them unto the lotus feet of Srimati Radhika. And he was actually crying as well. It was such a beautiful exchange. And somehow in my heart, I knew everything was going to be okay. And I was talking to Rajanath Prabhu after, and he said that the initiations are going to be held on Vasant Panchami. So then I was like, oh, okay. That's why he said, come on Vasant Panchami. So then he gave us initiation, Harinam and Diksha, in the same day, and it was just amazing. I was also having dreams every night that year. Like I'd just have a dream every single night about Gurudev, and it's just like this enlivening experience. It's hard to describe it. I mean, obviously others have experienced it too. To know, to really understand these things, you've got to experience it. But yeah, anyway, so Gurudev took me under his wing, made me his darling daughter, as he would always say to all of his darling daughters. And yeah, my journey began as his darling daughter. And yeah, so it was 40. He stayed at our house for the next 4 years, 3 years, I think. So 44 years altogether, which is when he visited. And one thing I was remembering, how like he would speak, like he would bring us to Kartik as well. You know, we'd go to Vrindavan every year and then see him when he came to Australia. Altogether he came about 10 times. And over those 14 years that he was physically present in our lives. And he would speak so much about the intimacy of the Vrajavasis and their loving relationship with Krishna, and how their mood is like heart to heart, like a family member. Like he would say, Lokik Sat Bandhuvat, like my dearest and nearest friend. And you know how the gopis have that mood of how he is my beloved, and Mother Yashoda like my son, and all his friends, and my nearest and dearest friend. So Gurudev really brought that mood to us as well, because he was so approachable and so intimate with us, and he made himself available to but at the same time there was that awe and reverence as well. It wasn't like it was you know, it was still grave. That's what I was trying to say. It was still grave, like serious, but at the same time, if you know, he would let you into this beautiful exchange with him and make us his family members, bring us into his family, and you know, inspire that mood to that, you know, inspire that aspiration at least to want to enter into the Braj mood of loving affection with Krishna, Radha and Krishna. So how lucky we are to have that connection. It's just mind-blowing when you think about it. I feel like Maya is so strong, really, when you focus on everything else but your bhakti, when you're focusing outwards, it's really easy to believe your eyes that Gurudev is gone. But when you connect with your Harinam and your and following his instructions, then he's not actually gone. He's there. He's there, fully present at every moment. And actually, even more so, I feel like, just so. I mean, when you sometimes, you know, often it's like you get distracted here and there, but yeah, he's, as soon as we think, like he said once, just think of me and I'll be there. And we've all heard so many times how he said, I'm closer to you than your life breath. So what an intimate relationship that he formed with us and was caring for us. We'd ask, how are you? What are you doing with your life? And guiding to establish us on the path back home to where he is now, to be, you know, back home at the lotus feet of Shishi Radha Govinda. And, you know, taking us on parikrama every year, Brajmandal parikrama or Navadvip parikrama. I remember once at Talavan in Vrindavan, he was saying how you don't know what's going on in your heart when you're coming to all these places, but we can see. And, you know, so many things are leaving your heart and so many deep impressions are coming in your heart. So he was, you know, saying it's like he's got a rope taking us all over these places and establishing them in our heart. So yeah, and through his Harikatha, which was like it's like when you're listening to his Harikatha, you might be in thousands there with thousands of people, especially in Navadvip Parikrama or Vrindavan Parikrama, or even, you know, in Australia, maybe 300 people, 100 people, whatever. But you feel like he's talking right to you, that he is there and he's there for you. And everyone says that. It's like, oh, he's speaking to me, he's speaking to me. And it says that Shri Guru is the super soul manifesting without. So the super soul within manifesting without. So, you know, he showed so many times that he knows my heart. He knows me, and he knows all about how to guide me back home. And I know all of his disciples felt like that he knows me and he loves me. He'll never leave me. And he said to think, he reminded us to think like that my hand is always over your head. I will never leave you. And I have so much affection for you. To remember those things and have that full confidence to, like, you know, he gave that example also of the rope for a person stuck in a well, and if they call out to somebody to help them, then somebody walking past will surely throw down a rope to bring them out. So Srila Gurudev is throwing us the rope, and we just have to grab on by following his instructions and hearing and chanting and serving and engaging our life and energy in the service of the Lord, service of our Gurudev. and then surely he'll be taken out of this deep, dark well of this material existence. Yeah, it's interesting. Like, I don't think I had a huge amount of personal time. Like I did, but like it was sporadic over the years. But he would teach in even indirect ways. Like I remember one time, it was actually in 2008, and he would ask. He actually. No, so he was staying at Dr. T's house, which actually we need to get Dr. T on here. I have to call him.
As you're speaking, there's about 3 people I'm going to ask you.
Okay. Okay. Anyway, he was staying at Dr. T's house for a little while for rest, and then he came to the festival, and he was asking the group of us there that what he should speak when he comes to Murwillumbah. And sometimes I was open with Gurudev, but a lot of times I had at that time, I just had a lot of awe and reverence kind of mood, a little bit scared sometimes, and it just a little bit awkward. That made me a little bit awkward. And when I spoke, and I think I said something like the 11th canto. I just said it like that. I just said it really simply, like the 11th canto. How about the 11th canto? Because he spoke that in Badger the year before, I think. And anyway, when he was in the class down in Murwillumbah a week or so later, he introduced what the topic he was going to talk about, and he said that I've spoken with so many different sannyasis and different persons to decide what to speak about, and Chandramukhi said to me, "Oh, you spoke such sweet Harikatha when you were in Badger last year, and it was just so nectarian. Please speak about the 11th canto." And I didn't actually say it like that. I just said it really like awkwardly, but I just felt like he was teaching me to be more personal, like, and loving, like, like you can say it like this. Anyway, it's just all these little things. There's so many little things like that I can remember over the years. One time it was Vyasa Puja. We had many Vyasa Pujas actually here, because he always came around January, February time, because that's our summer. And he was down in Cessnock, and that's about 8 hours drive from Murwillumbah, or something like that. Yeah. And anyway, most of the devotees down there were from Murwillumbah. He was so happy that we'd all come down. It was like about 4 days after the festival here that he had a festival down there. And he was so grateful that everybody had come from Murwillumbah, that we made that journey. Even when he was speaking Harikatha, it was so beautiful that he was speaking about how Krishna comes during the Harikatha, and he's present there, and he's so grateful that you're listening, and he's just giving so much mercy. And anyway, it was his Vyasa Puja, and I felt inspired to write an offering, and I never written an offering for him before. And I just was inspired, and I woke up on the day of his Vyasa Puja very early in the morning, and it was just like from my heart, just writing all these things. And then I had it in a card, and when Gurudev went for his morning walk, I gave it to him, and others were giving things to him as well. And then later on, Brajanath Prabhu came and told me that when Srila Gurudev came back into the house, all of the cards and letters and things that people had given him were just on the table. And he went over to them and went straight to mine and picked mine up and started reading it. And my father, Rajaballabha Prabhu, was there at that time, and he said, "Oh, your daughter writes so beautifully. I want her to read this tonight." And then he got me to stand up and read it that night. And actually that was the first year that he let people glorify him. He got other people to stand up and glorify Gurudev that year. Can't remember what year it was, 2002 or something. Can't remember. But anyways, I felt it was a exchange, because other times I'd written things in a letter, and I don't think it was from my heart. It was more intellectual, and I didn't get the same reciprocation. So, because he would say, "My heartly blessings." Everything's got to be from your heart, and that's what I picked up when I first met him. Everything was from your heart. So when I wrote something from my heart, he reciprocated, and that's what Krishna consciousness is. It's from our heart. We want to love Krishna. And so he's trying to, you know, it's so easy to love Gurudev. So by loving Gurudev, gradually, he's bringing us to love Radha and Krishna. How much longer do I have?
Where are we now? 12:40. 10 minutes.
10 minutes. So yes, what else to say?
If you feel like it, you don't have to. Whatever's
Okay.
natural for you, Diddy.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, I'm just one instruction that he gave me that kind of shaped my whole life, really. Actually, it's an instruction he kept having to give me again and again, because I was like a brick, not really kind of wanting to take it in, thinking, oh yeah, when I'm older. But after, I think it was the second or third, maybe the second time I saw him in India, and he called me over. I just arrived. He was on the top of the Mathura Mat at the beginning of Kartik, and it was a darshan, and there was a lot of people there sitting in front of him, and I just walked up the stairs, and he saw me and he called me over to him, and he said, I want you to take notes in my classes and preach everywhere. And so I did that. I was like really attentive, and then every time he saw me that Kartik, he would say something on the lines of, I want you to study Tattva and Siddhanta and preach. And it was just, at first I was like, oh yeah, okay, I'll preach when I'm older. Or I was only like 21 or something. And yeah, anyway, I just really tried to imbibe that in my life, because it was such a strong instruction. And I was so shy. And when I was in high school, I was giving speeches, and my hands were shaking and the palm cards were falling on the ground. But I was studying to be a teacher, and that brought me out of myself, I guess. But it's just interesting how Gurudev can see the different tendencies in his different disciples, and you know, he can see right into your heart and can know exactly what you need for your purification. Because I don't feel like I have any qualification to preach. It's just that maybe I have, you know, some might, you know, we all have some tendencies to do certain things, but that's a way to get Gurudev purifies you to engage in some service. And then it's like, well, all those googlies that are in our heart have to kind of go away when you're doing, like when you're speaking Harikatha. And he said it to all his disciples, I want you to preach, because it's so powerful to speak Harikatha, because your mind has to be fully focused. You can't let it wander, and you want to represent Gurudev. You don't want to get it wrong. And so it's like, and he said, I want you to become a flute, so that I could, like hollow like a flute, so that I can play you. And you're not doing the preaching, he's doing the preaching. He just wants us to come into his be his flute, be hollow like a flute, so that he can play us, and that his message can come through clearly. Not that you know, we're this big preacher persons and we know everything, and you know, but no, it's like everything that we have is coming from our Gurudev. And if we can be like the postman, the messenger, carrying the message of our Gurudev, and try to be open so that he can come through, and if anyone's helped in that regard, it's because he's come through, not because I did something. So it's been quite a training kind of ground, I feel like, when he gave me that instruction to really come into try, you know, more and more align myself with his will, and try to be like that flute, which still got a long way to go, but yeah, it's been a beautiful experience to have that. And he even had me when I was in my 20s. I was 29, I think, at the time when I went. He had me traveling around the world preaching. I was so young, and I was I went 3 times. I stayed at your house, Yashodananda Prabhu.
I know. I was there.
Yeah. Yeah.
Funny,
so
it's funny. A bit of a coincidence.
What was that?
a bit of a coincidence. I was there.
Yeah, really. Yeah, so it was, I mean, I got to a point where I was like, well, I felt like I couldn't really keep doing it like Shamrani Didi or someone. I needed to kind of
Didn't you come with your sister? I think it was you and your sister, wasn't it?
She didn't travel the whole journey, but she did come to a few places in England. I think she was traveling, or she did some traveling with Manjari that year, and yeah, but it's just amazing what Gurudev can get you to do, because he's so just injects you with so much inspiration. And I feel like now it's time to really absorb in that everything he gave, and really try to go deeper into it, and try and realize what he gave. He's given so much that can last lifetimes. Anyways, I'm kind of running out of things today to say. I feel like I'm just
it's beautiful, Didi.
trying to think of things, but yeah, it's so wonderful to remember Gurudev, and yeah, like he said, when you think of me, I'll be there. So Jai Shri Gurudev.
He wants us to be his flute, so we can give our heart as his lute, and then we can worship his foot.
You sound like Madhav Maharaj.
Oh no, please no.
He used to
maybe
make
that's good.
He used to make all kinds of rhymes.
I know, Madhav Maharaj and his acronyms are infamous. I didn't know that he descended on your house unplanned. That's quite unusual.
Yeah.
That must have been.
Yeah, it was very exciting. It made it more exciting.
That must have been absolutely amazing.
My sister came home from school and the whole house was different. And her bedroom
I just remember how long it took to get everything prepared to host Gurudev. So I don't know how you did that. That's incredible.
Yeah. Well, we had a lot of help. There's a lot of devotees there to.
Yeah, I suppose everybody mucks in. But the other story you said about how you said you awkwardly sort of stumbled out 11th canto. I don't think he was teaching you how to speak. I think he actually, although you were awkward in your expression, he could feel what was behind your expression. He was expressing your heart, actually, I think.
Oh, that's nice. Actually, that could be right. Oh, that's really sweet. I never thought about that.
That's because that's what he because when you say when he said I'm closer to you than the air that you breathe, that also means I know you more than you know yourself.
That's true. And what's coming out as words is what only like conditioned souls see, but someone like him can see everything, the whole dimension.
He's seeing intention. He's seeing intention.
Yeah, that's right.
That's what he could see in all of us. And as you were speaking, I was thinking, oh my God, how is your stepdad? He's such a laugh. Oh my God. He's like he's like a joke a minute, that guy. He would
I tried to get him to come on here and he won't. He's just not a computer man.
He doesn't need to be. You just have him. Oh, is he a long way from you?
No, he's not a long way from me. No. Well, he's about 15.
So you know those ventriloquist dummies? Yeah? You just sit him there like you're the operator, and then when it's ready to go, he speaks. Bring him to your house and arrange for him to do this, because he's fantastic. He's got so much to share. Can you ask him personally from me?
Okay.
Say the Ishwan Nandan is doing full satsang dandavats, yeah, with a bit of a cheeky smile on his face, and is begging that your stepdad offers his Pushpanjali, because he's very, very funny and also has had wonderful association.
Yeah. Okay.
Obviously, the other one's Dr. T. I don't think he'll have any problem being in front of any camera.
Yeah, I'll definitely get him. He won't have a problem.
He'll be like, oh yeah, when do you want me to turn up? No problem. Excuse me, I was coughing here. And the other one is Damadarini.
You mean Damodar Priya?
Damodar Priya, so I always get a name wrong.
Yeah.
Sorry. Yeah,
she's very busy, but I'll try to get her on. She's doing double or triple the load of her job because of COVID.
Right.
But I'll try again.
Yeah. And that's such a beautiful Pushpanjali, and I loved your interactions with Srila Gurudev, and like whenever you were describing your experiences of Gurudev and how Gurudev was shining his love on you, you bring, like you were saying, oh, all you have to do is say, be present. I want to see you, Gurudev, and he's here. You presence Gurudev in my heart by presencing him in your heart. That's what these Gurudev memories are all about. So I'm really grateful for that, because I feel nourished from you nourishing me by your experiences of Srila Gurudev. So much appreciated. Thanks, Chandramukhi.
Thank you so much. Thanks for doing this. It's great. It's wonderful. It's
I just hope I don't cough too much over my screen here. We're now going to move over to Adelaide. Oh, there she is. Hello, Srimati Vaishnavi Didi. Dandavat Pranams. Very warm welcome. I'll introduce you, and then I shall offer you the floor. So our next guest speaker, we're going, if I get my Australian geography right, we're going somewhat south and then somewhat west towards Adelaide in South Australia, showing off my Australian geography. Everything Australia is so big compared to the UK, like a road trip in Australia is like for us going to Scotland. Srimati Vaishnavi Didi first met the devotees in Adelaide in 1974, actually, when Srila Prabhupada was still on the planet. And her biography has a big ... to be filled in, because somehow she then managed to turn up in Mathura. I don't know how, but in 1992, meeting Srila Gurudev, and actually had the great auspiciousness to be able to live in a stone's throw away from Rupa Sanatan Mandir in Vrindavan for several years. So we would love to hear her spiritual journey, her relationship with Srila Gurudev. If she met Srila Prabhupada at all, that would be wonderful to know. A very warm welcome, Didi, and please feel very relaxed. It's a lovely family of devotees that are just eager to hear your heart. It's not about being the greatest speaker or the greatest orator. Just share your heart and be natural, and it's just feel like you're in your own living room talking to us. Hari Bol.
Hari Bol, everybody. Vanchakalpa Durabhischa, Kripa Sindhu Evicha, Patitanem Pavenibio Vaishnavibio Namo Namaha. I'm actually in my sister's living room, and it's freezing here in Adelaide at the moment. And I'm quite near the sea, so it's quite blustery outside. And I've got some notes here on my screen because I can't remember anything. I need to have things written down. And thank you, Yashoda Nandan Prabhu. I've never met you before. Thank you to you and your team for organizing this, and for Chandramukhi, Haibo Chandramukhi Didi, Afima Walamba, for giving me the opportunity to offer Pushpanjali to Gurudev. Yeah, you are a bit of a tough act to follow, Didi. Oh, wait, I've got headphones.
Are you originally from Britain, Didi?
Yes.
You sound British.
Yes, I was born in Bristol in 1958.
Bristol. Ah, okay.
Testing 1, 2, 3. Oh, that's a bit better. Anyway. So where am I? So I want to tell you how I came to Srila Bhaktivedanta Narayan Maharaj Gurudev, and the path I took, or rather the path that took me along it, because being in Gurudev's Sangha was a blessed time of my life. And I kind of thought those days would last forever. I just didn't think at the time that anyway. So I hope that I'm not speaking too fast or too boringly or too self-centeredly, or not enough about Gurudev, not enough Ras, not enough Siddhanta. Sorry, everybody. And then I've got then to see how I can get through this 30 minutes. At the end, I've got some notebooks that I wrote in Braj. So I'll just keep reading and then until I fizzle out or the time's up. So there might be some names of devotees that some of you listeners know, and there might be some that I've rudely omitted. So please forgive me for rudely omitting names. And I wanted to say that when you think about one devotee, you can't not think of the whole Sangha just like the wall of a lotus flower is holding all the petals together. Like, I don't think you can talk about Srila Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada without talking about the whole of the Hare Krishna movements. Because he's the, you know, and you can't talk about Srila Bhaktivedanta Narayan Maharaj Gurudev without talking about the whole Sangha. And in the context of what I'm going to be talking about is, it's really, well, it's the devotees that I know, that I've come into contact with in this world. So I went to I did go, as you said, Yashodananda and Prabhu, I went to Hare Krishna temple in Adelaide in the 70s, ran away from school, and the devotees used to chant and dance in the city, which was lovely. And it's amazing to think that Srila Prabhupada was actually walking among us at that time, somewhere on the planet, and that all the young devotees at the old Adelaide temple, where the one who gave me the hot milk, they were Prabhupada's followers and Prabhupada's disciples, because that's actually all there was. And then, so I was a hippie, always with pictures of Radha and Krishna, Krishna and the cow, Krishna, but a hippie. And the devotees were singing Hare Krishna at Stonehenge Summer Solstice Festival. And I was there with my little kid in about 82. And so I made some devotee friends and went along to the beautiful historic temples in England. My best friend, she'd actually been serving Prabhupada in Vrindavan. And to this day, she's a disciple of Srila Satsvarup Maharaj. And in 1983, I went to live in New Mayapur Chateau Temple in France at the invitation of my respected ISKCON Guru. And that's where I learned to be a Hare Krishna devotee, get up for Mangalarti, hear Srimad Bhagavatam classes, and to learn to think like a bhakta and such like. And it's amazing to think that Srila Bhaktivedanta Narayan Maharaj Gurudev, he went to New Mayapur. He actually visited it, I believe, in 1997, and I'd love to have been there. So then I went from New Mayapur to France in 87. No, hang on. Then I left and I went to live in Leicester. And Harry Bol Tilotoma, if you're watching, don't forget me, I remember you. And so in Leicester, I was friends with a young man named Bhakta Alan, who was going to Gurudev. And this is way back. And we didn't know who Gurudev was. We didn't know anything about Gurudev. And he took Diksha from him. And he was friends with Vishaka Didi for a while, partners, in fact. A lot of you will remember Vishaka Didi. Harival Vishaka. Hang on, I've lost my place. It's scrolled on its own. And then someone even showed me a picture of Gurudev at that time and said, look, they are going to this Guru. He is not ISKCON. What is this? So, and then for whatever reason, I moved with my husband and son to Melbourne, Australia, which is a lovely place. And my husband was head pujari there. And it was just lovely being fully immersed, because there you're learning to perform pujari seva, learning all the mantras, dressing the breathtakingly beautiful deities on the altar, cooking, singing, dancing, being part of a thriving community. And there was such a lot of prasadam and saris every day and such like. So around that time, a couple of devotees were coming to Melbourne from Vrindavan. And their names were Burjan and Jagatarini. And they used to spend a lot of time with our next door neighbours. And they were the temple president and his wife. And I remember Jagatarini, this very respected Prabhupada disciple, talking about Gurudev. And she seemed to be glowing with something a little bit special when she did. And I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, but I remember her studying Devanagari because Gurudev had told her she needed to know Hindi. And I guess that his Hari Katha would have all been in Hindi in Mathura at that time. And Shanti came with them. Shanti Didi, whom we all know and love. Haribol Shanti, if you're there in somewhere in Scandinavia. And it was actually Shanti's Hari Katha that really amazed me, because I had never heard anyone tell Vrindavan Leela like that before. I'd read Krishna book, but she was bringing it alive and taking it out of the book. So then, for whatever reason, don't ask, in about 92, we went back to England for a while. And I ended up staying in a caravan in the lovely countryside grounds of Bhaktivedanta Manor with English Indulekha and Bhaktin Renata. Now, this is amazing because I'm not even trying. And it is just happening. And if any one of you know Indulekha, she is just so amazing. And she was giving Hari Katha, she was speaking to, and Renata, I don't know her name. She got initiated by Gurudev too, but I can't remember her name. Radha something probably. And anyway, later she turns up in Vrindavan, and she was actually living with Chota Tungi in Kamba, but I haven't got there yet. So I was hearing that. So, and then my husband and son and I, we were like, okay, forget all this. Let's just go to Vrindavan and we'll just give up everything and live in Vrindavan. So we had nothing and we went there. And my son was 12. And Indulekha, she said, oh, you're going to Vrindavan. Can you take these shoes and these rasgulas to my Gurudev? And you know those soft brown shoes that he wears, Gurudev? They're like soft canvas, and they've got like a little sort of brass buttony thing on, and they're just slip-ons, and they're really soft. So these were brand new ones, and the plastic pot of rasgulas with all plastic around it. So we put them in our luggage, and as soon as we arrived, because they were rasgulas and they're milk sweets, we had to go immediately to Mathura to give them to Gurudev. So we took a tonga, and the little pony went clip clop all the way to Mathura, and it was a skinny little pony pulling a cart. And then I'd never been to any other ISKCON temple outside of ISKCON, so we went to the Gaudiya Mat temple, and it's a really busy road there, right? There's honk honk, and there's so much noise, and it's Mathura, and it's really busy. And we went in, and Gurudev wasn't there. He'd gone to Rup Sanatan for the day. So we had to leave the rasgulas and the shoes at Keshavji Gaudiya Mat in Mathura and go back without seeing Gurudev. New paragraph. At that time, you would still see Gurudev speaking in the ISKCON temple at special festivals. And that was when I first also saw Srila Bhaktivedanta Puri Maharaj, and probably a young Badayan Maharaj serving him too. And I was doing office service in Devi Shakti's office in Krishna Balaram Mandir, Gurukul building. Now, in that Gurukul building at that time, it wasn't like there weren't gates and that anyone could walk through. And there were a lot of rooms with different people. It wasn't just Gurukul children. It was all different things happening in different rooms, and there was a lot of activity. And there was some devotees, name maybe you remember, Satyanarayan and Kundali were there, and a lot of book writing and publishing, and a lot of scholars and out there thoughts were going on. And it was a very rich atmosphere, and a lot of devotees were going to Gurudev at that time, who were working in the Krishna Balaram Mandir boys Gurukul, which is very well known. And it was actually quite a nice Gurukul when I was a teacher later on, but not now. So who was going? There was Karta, Aditya, Vrindavan Vilasini, Krishna Kamini, she was Kubja at that time, Yashoda from Berkeley, and Gurujan Jagatarini Shanti was the school secretary, Vajanti Mala from Mawilamba, and Sachi from America, and the twins' mother from America. I can't remember her name. Her big twins were in the Gurukul. And Danadam Maharaj, maybe Vinod Bihari Prabhu from Russia, who's in Mawilamba, Haribal, and many others whose names I cannot remember. And so at that time, there were still lots of ambassadors in India. And I'd look around and notice that the senior ladies, the Prabhupada disciples, would get in them and off they'd go. And then when they came back, they'd be all glowing and giggling and excited and sort of secretive. And it was quite noticeable, really. And also at that time, Tamal Krishna Maharaj, Tamal Krishna Goswami and Giriraj Maharaj and the others were going to Gurudev and bringing back his teaching to us ISKCON wallahs. And there were talks sometimes like in Prabhupada's, he's got like a library room in Prabhupada's rooms in Vrindavan, and sometimes in Tamal Krishna Maharaj's house. And there was absolutely no hiding where this nectar was coming from, even though it wasn't openly acknowledged. It was fairly obvious at that time. And one year I went on parikrama with Tamal Krishna Maharaj and Giriraj Maharaj and the others. And we went to Varshana. And on top of the hill, which I believe is called Banugar Hill, where you go along from the Radharani temple to that other temple, you go along that path through the woods. And they planned for Gurudev to arrive. So all us ISKCON wallahs, we all stopped, and I thought, why are we stopping? And then there was Gurudev with a small entourage, and he spoke, and it was lovely. It was absolutely perfect. Nothing like that. I think I even did a little sketch of him in my notebook at the time. And then we only had about 3 books of Gurudev at that time. And I'm not sure, but I think they might have been published in Bromley in Kent. The 3 like pastel colored ones with pastel colored softback ones. It's not Prem Vilas, is
Prem Vilas. It was going beyond Vaikuntha. And
yeah, there's 3 of them. That's all there was really.
Yeah.
But then later on, when more got
and you showed a
printed,
gopi. You showed a gopi.
Yes, you showed a gopi. She was Surabhi, because my husband knew her because he was like from Jaitirtha, but the first batch, and they went to Srila Sridhar Maharaj, but that's a different story. That's not relevant. And so we really wanted to hear Hari Katha directly. We were in Braj, so we had the place, we had the narratives, and we wanted the person, and it was natural, and it was the most normal, natural thing in the world to want to hear Hari Katha directly linked to this incredibly sacred site so that we could understand it. And we wanted to delve into the teachings of our acharyas from a living master, as the senior sannyasis were doing. Otherwise, why were we in Vrindavan? We wanted to hear this. So in the guest house, in Krishna Balaram Mandir, devotees would often come to pass away. And my late god sister, Braj Leela, had come from Russia, and she was only 19, and she asked to have Gopi Geet read aloud, sung aloud to her. And I didn't even know, she was several light years ahead of me. And later on in Gurudev's Sangha, I learnt about all the bhajans and how to do bhajan. And upstairs in the ISKCON guest house, because actually so many devotees came to pass away there, but upstairs in room 24 was Jadurani, and she was painting. And how I met Jadurani was because she was looking for someone to do some editing and proofreading for the Art of Spiritual Life. And Devi Shakti, who was the important ISKCON Vaishnavi, put her on to me because my son had a laptop. And so we used to go backwards and forwards with this editing and re-editing. until his laptop melted. And Jadurani was painting the Sevakunj painting, and she asked me to go to her room regularly. And I used to read Srila Vishwanath Chakrabarti Thakur's Krishna Bhavanamrita to her while she was painting, and she'd have a lot of guests. So that was really interesting. And I'd just, listen and observe. And when I was reading out loud, she always used to chide me because I put too much feeling in my voice, and I had to read it monotone because I actually didn't have any feeling for what was in that book. And I ended up for cooking for Jadurani, and I cook and bring it on the bicycle in a tiffin and do photocopying and stuff. So you can imagine just being around the sort of things that I was beginning to hear, and the questions and answers and what have you. And then so when Sevakunj painting was completed, it was installed in the Kunj upstairs in Rup Sanatan Mandir, and we were invited along, my husband and I, and it was a little event. And I think the two Manjari paintings, they were unframed, and they were kind of like just shoved into those alcoves on either side of the altar, not in the actual main shrine. And that's when I first got some prasadam in my hand from Gurudev, and it was a rasgulla. And so my husband had been initiated in ISKCON by Jaitirtha and then Bhagavan. So he was eager to go to Gurudev, and he ended up taking Diksha in the very temple in which Srila Prabhupada had been given sannyas mantras by Srila Bhakti-Bhagwan Keshava Maharaj in 58. And back in the day, Gurudev would be sitting on his chair outside his room in Mathura and also in Rup Sanatan, and we'd sit around him on the floor as close as we could, or eager, and he'd be speaking to one or the other of us. And then I remember in Mathura, the Aarti bell would start ringing, and Aarti would start, and Gurudev would say, everybody go to Aarti, go and take darshan. And like one really devoted devotee would get up and scuttle off to Aarti, and all the rest of us would just laugh, and just everyone would want to stay there close to their Guru. And there was only half a dozen like Videshis around Gurudev. And for me, I thought, oh my God, the brahmacharis are so sweet and affectionate and jovial. And they seem to be serving Gurudev so cheerfully and so happily. And it was like a different tribe. And Srila Madhava Maharaj gave me Gurudev's sock. And what was his name before? Naveen Krishna. And I remember going to Gurudev with a question. I'd have this really important question to ask him. Like, you know that feeling when you sit down in front of Gurudev and you're like, okay, yeah, so whatever that question, I'm receiving so much from him, it's just boom. And so my little insignificant question is just like, yeah, I won't bother with that after all. So in 1995, all the Srila Prabhupads who were going, all the Srila Prabhupada disciples who were going to Gurudev, they all had to leave Vrindavan. It was decreed, and they had to leave for a year. And I remember being in the last kirtan in Krishna Balaram Mandir before they went. The very next day, it was as clear as that. It's like, you all need to go. You can't be doing this. And it was an insane kirtan. It was a real, excuse the expression, it was a real wampa stomper, because it was heartbreaking, So then I was hearing from Kavita Didi and Savita Didi, and I used to spend a lot of time in their rooms listening to them talk. And sometimes we'd take prasad, we'd sing the songs, we'd listen to their Harikatha. Kavita Didi was always wearing a white sari, and Savita Didi was always wearing a white salwar kameez with a white dupatta. So much energy they had. And to be honest, those two young devotee women, well, I thought they seemed young at the time, they were like a hugely influential part of my spiritual life. And to me, they were just like the personifications of kindness. They showed me how to do bhajan, how to remember, how to study, everything. Absolutely exemplary. I love them so much, Savita and Kavita Didis. And it was especially good to be with them when they were with Gurudev, because of how Gurudev was with them. Joking, serious, joking. And then we were living in New Delhi, my family and I, because my husband, he'd become head pujari and he did so much work on the New Delhi temple, so much work, but that's another story. And then the Prime Minister of India came to inaugurate it. So there you are. At that time, both the head pujari in New Delhi and the head pujari in Krishna Balaram Mandir, they were both Narayan Maharaj disciples. So one thing I can say for sure is that Srila Gurudev's Delhi Wallahs were really awesome. It was so fun living there. They are nice, and I can't remember all their names, unfortunately. But oh my God, what a time that was. And maybe Ramachandra Prabhu was there, I don't know. But Gurudev used to go and do programs in their lovely homes, all in Hindi, like, you know, way over my head. And we were the only Videshis, and it was so ecstatic. And the bus to Delhi only took a couple of hours. So we didn't really take taxis, we just took the bus. It was lovely. And there was this very young, I can't remember their names, a very young Sadhu Maharaj and a Siddhanti Maharaj. They were bhaktas in Delhi, and Mahaniri Swami was there, and we were all hearing from him. So at the end of this 1 year of banishment, Jadurani was coming back to India, and we must have been in touch, but I don't know how. Maybe we had email. I really don't know. I don't know. But I went along, just me and a bunch of tube roses, and I went and picked her up in an ambassador and took her to one of the Delhi Wallah's lovely homes, and then later she went back to Vrindavan, possibly to her rooms at Rup Sanatan, I'm not sure. So let's be saying Shamarani now instead of Jadurani. So Shamarani Didi was going to see Gurudev in Mathura, and I was going with her on so many occasions. So we used to take tempos in those days, Vichitri, Shanti, Vrindavan Bilasini, some of the others. And Shamarani would like wrap her paintings very carefully to protect the wet oil paint, so that they could be carried and go to all the way to Mathura in Delhi and show them to him, and he'd talk about them to her. And I used to just be there watching and listening. And then in 1996, Gurudev first went to the West, to Holland, and then preaching around the world. And I was at Keshava, I think my husband and I were both at Keshavji Gaudiya Mat the day before he flew out. And all these Mathura dignitaries, they came to like see him off, or I don't know, because I didn't understand much. But they were all there, all these beautifully smartly dressed dignitaries who'd come, like important VIPs, to come and see him before he went to the West the day before. Maybe some sort of ceremony, I don't know. And everything changed. Nothing was the same after that. He had gone out into the world. 4 minutes left. And yeah, I was living at Dauji Mandir in Kamba, and oh, so many different. I've run out of time, haven't I? Sashikala was there, Chaudatungi was there, and I used to write in my notebooks. We're on Vrindavan Parikrama. I drew a little diagram and labeled all the little people in my little biro drawing. Van Maharaj, Tirtha Maharaj, Aranya Maharaj, Bhagavat Maharaj, Ashram Maharaj, Rupa playing Mridanga, Padmanabh, Urukram Maharaj, Bhaktisa Maharaj, Madhava Maharaj, Atul Krishna Prabhu. I can't remember who they are. Sadhu Maharaj, Ramchandra Prabhu, Ananta Krishna, I can't remember. And then page after page of the places that we went to with Gurudev, I filled all these notebooks up, and I thought one day I'll understand what's in my notebooks. And then sometimes the devotees would say, don't write when you're in front of Gurudev. Don't take notes. Look at Gurudev, just soak it all in. But I didn't listen to them. We went to Nikunjavan, Imlital, Tilvan, Bahulavan, Lohavan, Mansarovar, Mandiravan, Bhagavan, Vamsivat, Gokul, Ramananda Ghat, Dauji Gaudiya Mat, Paitagan, where's that? The Kund of Surdas. I remember being there with Gurudev at the Kund of Surdas, Chandra Sarovar at Parasoli, Govardhan. Before Govardhan Mandir was built, we stayed at the Modi Bhavan. And Gurudev went on the hill and he did the offering to the hill like this with his arms up in the air and all the little lights all over the hill. And it was just insanely crazy. I'm like, Gurudev, he's actually offering this bhoga to, and all the ladies, we put the baskets on our heads. And then there was no more baskets of prasad to take to Gurudev to put on Govardhan. And all I got was a bunch of bananas. There was nothing left. But he called out and got some bananas and he put the bananas on my head. And we all walked to Govardhan and offer it. I mean, those were the days. And we'd jump out of the buses everywhere we went. And I'll tell you what was ecstatic, because I've run out of time. I'll tell you what was really ecstatic is when you go to when we went on, hang on, I'm looking for it in my notes. When we went on Navadvip Parikrama, can you help me out? When we went on Navadvip Parikrama, there was that place where Gurudev would like have an argument with Srila Trivikram Maharaj.
Yeah.
Chandramukhi, where is that? And it was so ecstatic.
Samudragad.
Oh my God.
That is Samudragad.
That is Samudragad. And it
Yes.
is the king. And who is the king and the other one?
Samudra Sen.
Samudra Sen. And just
Yes.
to have been there, and witnessed it, because it was quite heartbreaking to also be there. And you know, anyway, I don't want to say it, but to be there and have that is just like, I didn't even realize, even Chota Tungi, she explained to me, oh, what they are saying is this, what is going on is this, they are doing this. I'm like, oh, really? Oh, wow. And now I realize, like, oh my God, to have actually witnessed that is such a blessing in this lifetime. And I'm hundreds of millions times filled with gratitude and koti dandavat pranams in the lotus feet of all the Vaishnavas who took me to Gurudev and who kindly allowed me to go to Gurudev, even though I was a ISKCON-wala. And it's just heartbreakingly, heart-rendingly beautiful, isn't it? Come on, to know Gurudev, isn't it the best thing ever?
What you said at the beginning about you can't really get the essence of Gurudev without glorifying his Sangha, same with Prabhupada. You really encapsulated through that because you brought all those characters alive. And we have met because I was at Modi Bhavan when you were talking about that Modi Bhavan Govardhan Puja. I was there, I remember that.
Yeah, but we didn't meet, Prabhu. I wouldn't notice you because I'm always keeping my eyes lowered. Nicely.
Maybe I was the one that stole the last plate of food.
We had to carry baskets on our heads.
I remember.
All the way. And then Gurudev went, he had his arms. I'm like, oh my God, he's offering like that, this to Govardhan right there. Oh, yeah. It was fabulous.
It was beautiful. What happened? By the way, you didn't, there was no fizzling out in evidence there, did he?
No, because I ran out of time. I've been watching the clock.
Yeah, no, you did really well. What happened to back to Alan, by the way?
I forget his name, and he got initiated by Gurudev, and there were two of them. He had a friend, there were these two guys. This is like way back, because some of the devotees, they were getting initiated by Gurudev before anything. Chucha.
By the way, did you happen, I'm really interested in that period you were talking about before, because I came to Gurudev just before he traveled to the West. I met him in February 96. But I'm always fascinated in that kind of build-up period, like, you know, from 87, 88 to the end of the 80s. And you met Indrulekha, for example, and Vishaka. Did you take any pictures at the time?
I lived in Vrindavan for years, and we never had a camera. We were just like, yay, with no idea of we really need to, you know, take a photograph.
Yeah, that was beautiful. Those kind of like times when when it was really a very small, because even when I arrived, it was still a very small, intimate family. It must have been even more intimate when you were there.
But yeah, but I wasn't like up the front, being intimate up the front and, you know, a prominent or devotee. But it was you were just like, you know, and then later on, when it was like a big crowd, you had to learn to be crafty. You had to learn to slip through and get right up to Gurudev, quickly ask him a question. And sometimes you could see if someone was hanging back and they were like new and they were like, oh, what's happening? And you'd grab them and you'd grab them by the wrist and just drag them through the crowd and like get up the front and then push them and really loudly and clearly go, Gurudev, this is so-and-so from so-and-so, shove, and push them right up, because you had to be really tricky.
Yeah. Sometimes being holding back is not humble in the situation with the guru. You know, you just gotta like go for it. It's your opportunity. And the interaction with Tripurkar Maharajas. I mean, there were so many beautiful interactions between Srila Gurudev and Srila Tripurkar Maharaj, where Tripurkar Maharaj was able to sort of get the most sweetness out of Gurudev. You know, he knew how to play the instrument, as it were. It was beautiful.
And Srila Vaman Maharaj was there too?
Yes.
He was also there at that time?
Yeah. He was he was much more in a withdrawn state by then, though, as I remember.
Yeah. I saw him and he was so withdrawn state, and I pushed a rose into his hands. Rose, there were no thorns on the rose, like a little into his hands, and he opened his eyes and he looked, and I was like, oh, you know, things like that. They mean so much. When
and also, do you remember in I can't remember which day of the Parikrama it is in Navri, but it's the day when Prabhuji would put on an incredible feast for at least 10,000 people in one field.
Konsa Prabhuji.
And all three of them, Srila Vama Maharaj, Srila Tripurkar Maharaj, and Srila Gurudev would be there together, and it was quite extraordinary to be in the presence of three such extraordinary personalities.
Oh, amazing. Yeah. Seriously.
Yeah.
Oh, just for a moment, even. Just to get like a leaf or the dust where their foot had stepped in a Braj Raj. And from Gurudev, I remember scooping up the water that was coming off his foot, and the steps at Razakund and all those. I mean, I don't know much High Tattva Siddhanta, and I'm not a Rasik, and, you know, but all those things, I know that they're in there somewhere, just dormant, lying dormant.
Well, we certainly felt, as the messages I'm getting on the Zoom and kind of tuning into the devotees online, we all felt that really sweet mood from you, Didi, and you came. Your Pushpanjali was really authentic and very sweet and very simple and very beautiful, and it resonated with all of us. So we're super grateful. Thank you so much.
Haribol, everybody. It's so nice to see you all. Haribol,
and we hope you don't freeze too much down in Adelaide.
I'm freezing.
Adelaide is
it's
like English weather.
Freezing.
It's like England in Adelaide, right?
Well, it doesn't snow, but you get used to the hot sun. And like Vrindavan, when it's really hot in Vrindavan and then it's winter, it feels really cold in Vrindavan. I can't.
You're going to stay there, or are you going to do another peripatetic turn and come over to England, or you staying in Australia?
Why are you saying that? It's coronavirus. We can't go anywhere.
Oh no, I meant generally. That's not going to go on forever.
Prabhu, Yashodanandan Prabhu, I only really ever think about Vrindavan. I think one day I'm going to go to Vrindavan and I'm going to get a little room and live on weak khichdi and be happy. Nice.
Oh, you mentioned Vajanti Mala, by the way. I spoke to her this morning. She's a wonderful personality. Hare Krishna, Dandavat. Thank you so much. I'm going to hand over to Yashodhari, Dandavat Yashodhari.
Haribol, Dandavat Pranams. Just firstly, I want to say thank you so much to Chandramukhi Didi and Vaishnavi Didi. Chandramukhi Didi, I don't know if you're there or not, but perhaps not. Yes, but she'll probably see this later on. But I just want to say that when Chandramukha Didi was speaking, it felt like I felt a little bit jealous. I'm not gonna lie. I kind of wished I was able to see Srila Gurudeva at that time and be able to spend that time with him. But in the heart of jealousy, I'm also feeling very inspired, and I feel like I'm holding onto Gurudev's lotus feet tightly and trying to build that internal relationship, and hoping that one day that he'll be pleased enough to call me his darling daughter also. So thank you, Chandramukha Didi, for being so inspiring. And Vaishnavi Didi, I just love you, your memories that you just spoke, because it felt like I was just going through your journey with you, and it felt like I was in that moment and in the rickshaws and traveling with you throughout. So thank you so much. Just before we move over to our two final speakers, I just want to add a commercial break into our program so we can promote two programs that we are going to be doing, of which one is Guru Purnima, and Guru Purnima is a day of celebration of our gurus. And Gurudev used, as his personality was, he would embrace every single person without judging them or without asking where they came from and who their guru was. And Gurudev was so accepting of this. And so me and Yashodananda Prabhu were thinking about what is it that, how can we make Srila Gurudev happy, for and help him and be able to serve him, or try to serve him at least. And so we were thinking, okay, let's do something where we can speak about all of the acharyas that have come to our movement and helped us all and still are helping us. So we are, just as we did for the 55-hour, 59-hour global glorification for Srila Gurudev, which was a non-stop glorification, we're going to be doing the exact same thing for 64 hours, starting on the 22nd of July to the 24th of July, where we're going to be glorifying 14 Mahabhagavad Acharyas, including Srila Gurudev, Srila Vama Maharaji, Srila Bhakti Pramod Puri Goswami Maharaj ji, Srila Bhakti Rakshashridhar Goswami Maharaj ji, Srila Bhakti Vigyan Bharati Maharaj ji, just to name a few, Srila Bhakti Vaibhav Puri Goswami Maharaj ji. So we've got 14 Mahabhagavad Acharyas that we want to come together to be able to glorify on this auspicious day of Guru Purnima. So devotees from around the world, from all across the mats, not forgetting Srila Prabhupada, of course, are coming around the world to come and glorify their Guru Maharajas, or the devotees are coming that have spent time with these Mahabhagavats to come in to glorify them. So we really want two things, is that you all come and join us so we can hear the wonderful pastimes and glories of these Mahabhagavats, so we can build a beautiful relationship with them. But on top of that, if you feel inspired to come and speak about your Guru Maharajas, and we can provide the list of the acharyas, please get in contact with myself, Yashodananda Prabhu, Sham Sundari Didi. This is an opportunity for us to be able to celebrate the unlimited efforts that our Guru Parampara have put into getting us out of this material existence and somewhat trying to shine some light in our life. So this is a really big opportunity to be able to do that. So a video is going to come up very soon and a poster, so please do get in contact. And then Yashodananda Prabhu is quickly going to speak about World Sankirtan Day, and then we'll move over to our next speaker.
I'm going to play the video. Just 1 second, I'm going to find it now. Just bear with me. Okay, I think that's it. Yushtari, do you have the second World Sankirtan video handy? This doesn't seem to be downloading.
I don't have it to hand. Do you want to speak about it and then maybe we can play
No,
it?
just move on. Just carry on. Just carry on,
Okay.
please.
Okay. All right. So we will now move over. We'll play the World Sankirtan video at the end also, but just so that everyone knows, on the 11th of July for World Sankirtan Day, we are aiming for 108 cities or towns around the world to come and live stream their Sankirtan wherever they are around the world, and it will be different Naam Sankirtans. We've already got 65 different cities already enrolled, and we're looking for that this message of World Sankirtan Day gets spread out throughout the world. But we'll play that video towards the end. So now we'll go over to our final speakers who are based in Delhi. And if you don't mind, Tamal Krishna Prabhu and Indu Didi, that I introduce you both together, and then we can go from there. Tamal Krishna Prabhu started attending classes at an Aarti at ISKCON and got in touch with our wonderful Rohini Nandan Prabhuji in March 2004. And in April 2004, both Tamal Krishna Prabhuji and Srimati Indu Didi met Srila Gurudev at the Bharata Hospital in Delhi when Gurudev was performing his sickness pastimes. I think this is when Gurudev had his heart attack, if I'm not mistaken. And at that time, Tamal Krishna Prabhuji was given Harinam and Diksha, and that since then has changed his life, he says, and has got real meaning of seva, a real meaning to life. And he performs Harikatha, Nagar Sankirtan, and has many house programs. And from what I've heard so far, it sounds like you've hosted many Vaishnavas also in your home and invited them very beautifully to come and attend without failure. And then Indu Didi also met Gurudev in 2004 and took Harinam. And then later on took Diksha from Srila Bhaktivedanta Madhav Maharaji. So with great pleasure and honor, I would like to invite Shriman Tamal Krishna Prabhuji to come and speak, and then we can ask Srimati Indu Mataji to come and speak thereafter. Prabhuji, just one question. Are you going to speak in English or you will speak in Hindi?
I would like to speak in Hindi. At least I can.
Okay, that's fine. Because then what I'll do
express my bhav. Yes.
Yes, that's not a problem. So what I'll do is I'll start translating, and then maybe Vipin Prabhu will come in afterwards. Just because he's just out at the moment, so he will come and translate in a moment. But I will start the translation at least. Is that okay? So if you speak a couple of sentences, and then I'll translate, and then we'll go from there.
Okay. Vande aham Shri Guru Shri Yutapad Kamalam Shri Guru Vaishnavasya Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sagan Raghunathan Vitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savdhutam Parijan Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sagan Lalita Shri Vishakhan Vitascha Ajnanatimirandhasya Jnananjan Salakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namah. Namo Mahavadanyaya Krishna Prema Pradayate Krishnaya Krishna Chaitanya Namne Gauratishe Namah. He Krishna Karuna Sindho Deenabandho Jagatpate Gopesh Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namastute Sapta Kanchan Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Vrindaye Tulsi Devyay Priyaye Keshwasya Krishna Bhakti Pradevi Satyavate Namo Namah. Bhajo Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaur Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare हरे राम 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 हरे हरे, हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम राम। सर्वप्रथम अपने परम आराध्यतम गुरुदेव नित्य लीला प्रविष्ट ओम विष्णुपाद अष्टोत्तर शत श्री श्रीमद भक्ति वेदांत नारायण गोसाई महाराज के चरणों में अनंत कोटि दंडवत करते हुए उनकी अहेतु की कृपा की वांछा करता हूँ। तत्पश्चात समस्त रूपानुग गुरु वर्ग के चरणों में अनंत कोटि दंडवत करते हुए उनकी अहेतु की कृपा की वांछा करता हूँ। उपस्थित सभी वैष्णव वैष्णवी मेरे गुरु भाई बहन सभी के चरणों में मेरा यथा योग्य दंडवत स्वीकार करें। आज बड़ा आनंद का विषय है, बड़ा आनंद का विषय है और बड़ा सुख का विषय है। इतने सारे गुरु भाई बहनों के दर्शन, उनके विचार सुनने को मिल रहे हैं। और आज तो सचमुच जो है वो पूरा पुराना समय जो है ऐसा याद दिला दिया सबने। चंद्रमुखी दीदी ने भी कि किस प्रकार ये सब बच्चे हमारे यहाँ आए, गुरुदेव ठहरे, गुरुदेव अस्वस्थ लीला कर रहे थे। उन्हीं दिनों हमारे पीछे जो आप देख रहे हैं ठाकुर जी, श्री श्री राधा राधिका रमन गुरुदेव ने स्थापना की इनकी। उन्हीं दिनों में वहाँ रमन बिहारी गौड़िया मठ में ही हम लोग लेके गए तो गुरुदेव कहने लगे घर तो जा नहीं सकते हैं, यहीं ले आओ।
प्रभु जी मैं
हमारी
ट्रांसलेट
विग्रह जो है गुरुदेव के पास एक सप्ताह तक ठहरे वहीं पे गुरुदेव के पास रूम में। देन ही गेव अस।
मैं ट्रांसलेट करती हूँ 2 मिनट,
Yes, you
otherwise
can.
मैं भूल जाऊंगी। First of all, Prabhuji saying, Prabhuji saying that he's feeling so joyous and so happy to see so many of his god brothers and sisters on this platform, and it's bringing back so many memories for him. And at this point, he's remembering so many pastimes of when Chandramukhi Didi and so many others used to come to their house to stay when Gurudev was performing his sickness pastimes, and this is bringing him back many memories. And the deities that you're seeing behind Prabhuji and Didi are deities that have been established or been given Pran Pratishtha by Srila Gurudev himself. Gurudev, they were originally going to go to Raman Bihari Mutt, but Gurudev asked that these deities stay with Tamil Krishna Prabhuji and Indu Mataji.
इनफैक्ट भक्ति तो हम लोग पहले भी कर रहे थे, लेकिन किसके लिए करना है, कैसे करना है, क्या एम एंड ऑब्जेक्ट है, वो नहीं जानते थे। संसारी लोग हैं ना, मटेरियलिस्टिक, सोच भी मटेरियलिस्टिक, इच्छाएं भी मटेरियलिस्टिक, सब कुछ वैसा ही था। लेकिन गुरुदेव ने उसको एक नई डायरेक्शन दी, एक दिशा दी कि आपकी भक्ति का उद्देश्य क्या होना चाहिए। बस उसी उद्देश्य ने जो है जीवन परिवर्तन कर दिया।
So when Tamil Krishna Prabhuji is saying that when he first met, he was already performing some sort of bhakti when he began, but he never knew the understanding of what direction to go, what was the aim, what was the objective, what was the goal of this. And when he met Srila Gurudev, Gurudev established his very truths within himself and provided him the opportunity to be able to understand these very depths of what Gurudev came to give.
यही गुरुदेव का जो है ये मैं समझिए कि अवदान हमारे जीवन में क्या, पूरे विश्व को जितने भी गुरुदेव के संपर्क में लोग आए, हमारे जितने भी गुरु भाई बहन हैं, शायद उससे पहले कोई नहीं जानता था कि राधा दास्यम क्या होता है, भक्ति हम लोगों को किस लिए करनी है ना, किसकी करनी है, मंजरी भाव क्या होता है, गोपी भाव क्या होता है। इन भावों को इतना आसान नहीं था समझना। बिना गुरुदेव के इट वाज नॉट एट ऑल पॉसिबल। ये गुरुदेव ने कितने सरल तरीके से और कितने आसानी से हमारे हृदय में स्थापित कर दिया उसको, वो अन्य और कहीं पॉसिबल नहीं था, असंभव था बिल्कुल।
When Srila Gurudev before Srila Gurudev, the concept and idea of Radha Dasyam was not being established or not spoken about in outright, and because of Srila Gurudev, he established this Radha Dasyam, this Manjari Bhav, in such a very simple form that it made it so accessible for everyone, and he makes it very accessible for everyone to be able to understand this very concept, and it's because of our Srila Gurudev that we know this.
हम लोग वैसे एक जो है अपने आप को तो ऐसा पाते हैं, फॉर एन एग्जाम्पल, गुरुदेव ने तो जिसके ऊपर भी दृष्टि डाली, जिसके ऊपर भी उन्होंने एक बार दृष्टिपात किया, उसका कल्याण कर दिया, उसको अपना बना लिया। ऐसा माधुर्य, ऐसा प्रेम अन्य और हमने तो कहीं नहीं देखा। और फिर गुरुदेव के जाने के बाद गुरुदेव के शिष्यों में सभी में वही प्रेम जो है, वैसी ही भावना, वैसी ही करुणा, वैसी ही दया, वो अब चारों ओर दिखाई देती है कि किस प्रकार जीव का कल्याण हो जाए। ये भाव तो सभी के अंदर मेरे को दिखाई देता है। जितने भी गुरुदेव के शिष्य हैं, जितने भी गुरुदेव के संपर्क में लोग आए, उनके अंदर वही करुणा, वही दया कि किस प्रकार जो है औरों का कल्याण हो, ये भाव सबके अंदर दिखाई देता है।
When Srila Gurudev would meet anyone, he would have his glance over that devotee, that person, and he, with his so much love and affection, he would be able to just lure them into to lure them to him, and Tamakrishna Prabhu was saying that actually anyone, you can tell that anyone that has spent or has had any sort of association with Srila Gurudev, that they are, that you can see the same characteristics of Srila Gurudev within them, and this is something that is a speciality that Gurudev was with so much love and affection, be able to grip you and take you in under his arm, under his wing, but also be able to and now you can see that those that are disciples of Srila Gurudev, they hold this very characteristic of Srila Gurudev within themselves, and it's very easy to recognize who Srila Gurudev disciples are because of this.
क्योंकि जो आनंद गुरुदेव के पास अपने पास था, जो सत्य उनके पास था, जो आनंद उनके पास था, वो उन्होंने ऐसे मुक्त हाथों से लुटाया उसको। वो उस आनंद को प्रत्येक जीव के हृदय में स्थापित कर दिया। अब वो प्रत्येक जीव जो है वो उस आनंद को आगे ढूंढ रहा है कि मैं किसको दूं, किसको दूं, कैसे दूं। उसको उसके अंदर वो दया है कि जीव जो है इस संसार में ही ना फंसा रहे, जिसके लिए गुरुदेव आए, जिसके लिए गुरुदेव ने प्रयास किया जीवन भर, और फिर अपनी करुणा से जो है उस भाव को सभी के हृदय में स्थापित किया। ये संसार ही सब कुछ नहीं है, संसार में पड़े रहने के लिए हम लोग नहीं है। मनुष्य जीवन हमें किस लिए मिला? मनुष्य जीवन की सार्थकता जो है वो गुरुदेव ने प्रत्येक जीव के मन में बड़ा स्पष्ट रूप से दिखा दिया उनको कि ये मनुष्य जीवन की सार्थकता नहीं है जिसके लिए हम कर रहे हैं।
When Gurudev met with anyone, especially his close disciples, he really brought them so much joy and happiness that is out of this world. Obviously, because of the Siddhanta and Madhur and the sweetness that he gave, which is so profound and out of this world. And Gurudev gave this to his disciples, and those disciples that have embraced it also came into a position where they are also looking for who to give this happiness to, where to they feel like they want to give this to the whole world, and so his disciples are trying to establish that. And this is the quality and beauty of Srila Gurudev, that he was able to bring this sweetness in such a simple form, and those disciples were very lucky to be able to have this association.
गुरुदेव ने अपने सारा जीवन जो है वो केवल इसी प्रयास में कि किस प्रकार जो है संपूर्ण जीवों का कल्याण हो उसके लिए प्रयास किया। किस पहले स्वयं जब तक रहे तब तक, और फिर इतने ग्रंथ जो हैं वो गुरुदेव ने, जो गुरुदेव की बुक्स हैं वो भी आज क्या आने वाले अनंत काल तक जो है वो जीवों को मार्गदर्शन करती रहेंगी निश्चित रूप से।
The efforts that Srila Gurudev's put into all of his preaching is unlimited, and you know, he always tried to find a way to be able to reach out to the mass public and be able to bring them into Krishna consciousness. And these books that Gurudev spent so much time and effort in writing is not only something that is for the present and for people for now, but it will be something that is a legacy that lasts for many years after us. And this is his Srila Gurudev has put this this emphasis on his books, and has put so much attention into writing these books for not just us, but for devotees to come many years after us.
अभी आप कह रहे थे ना कि I am feeling jealous of that, why I was not at that time when Gurudev was here. But we were there. But even then we feel that we could not understand Gurudev at that time when we were there and Gurudev was there. But in the association of all the devotees, now we are feeling what Gurudev had come to give. Now we are feeling what Gurudev has given to all the devotees, and we have been left behind all of them without empty pocketed. Now we are feeling that we are getting all these things from the disciples of Gurudev, which we couldn't take from Gurudev. Now we are feeling that how fortunate we are. ऐसा लगता है जैसे हम लोगों ने एक कथा सुनी कि एक गोबर का कीड़ा था, काउ डंग वर्म इन ए काउ डंग, और एक मधुमक्खी ने उसको देखा, उससे पूछा भाई कौन हो आप? कीड़ा कुलबुल कुलबुल कर रहा था उसके अंदर। उससे पूछा कि तुम कौन हो? कहता मैं कीड़ा हूं। क्या खाते हो? यही खाता हूं। कहाँ रहते हो? यहीं रहता हूं। मीन संसार। और उस मधुमक्खी को दया आई उसके ऊपर, उसने कहा आओ मेरी पीठ पे बैठ जाओ, मैं तुम्हें पराग का आस्वादन कराता हूं। I'll get you taste that makarand parag in the flower.
So
मधुमक्खी के पराग फूल में उसको छोड़ दिया।
2 minutes, may I translate and then you can carry on once. Otherwise I'll forget. I'm not so good at translating like Vivin Prabhu, but Prabhuji's given the example. Prabhuji's given the example of this worm in a stool example, and a bumblebee comes to that worm and asks that worm, what do you do? Where are you from? And this worm replies back that this stool is my home. This is what I'm like I roam around within the stool. And so this stool is a representative of the world, or the world that we live in. And this bumblebee is feels sorry for this worm. So the bumblebee says to the worm, then you should come with me to come with me to the flower and I will show you some nectar. So Prabhuji is going to continue now.
उस मधुमक्खी ने उसको बिठाया अपनी पीठ पर और ले जाके उसको एक पुष्प में छोड़ दिया। पुजारी आए, पुष्प चयन किया, ले जाके ठाकुर जी के पास चढ़ा दिया। ठाकुर जी के चरणों में पहुंच गया। कौन? वो कीड़ा। और पहले तो वो पराग का आस्वादन करके, उसका नेक्टर का आस्वादन करके बड़ा खुश है, बड़ा आनंदित है कि क्या बढ़िया स्वाद है इसका। और फिर जब चरणों में पहुंचा, ठाकुर जी के दर्शन किए, तो और आनंद हो गया कि ठाकुर जी के दर्शन हो गए और वहां कीर्तन हो रहा है, उसका स्मरण, उसका कानों में आ रही आवाज, हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे हरे, ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय, दामोदर माधवेति इत्यादि इत्यादि बहुत सारा कीर्तन वो सुन रहा है। संध्या हुई, पुजारी ने फूल समेटे, ले जाके यमुना जी में डाल दिए। अब वो यमुना जी में पहुंच गया।
Okay, so Prabhuji is saying that then the bumblebee takes the puts the worm on the back of the back of the bumblebee and takes them to the flower and puts them in the flower, and that flower, a pujari comes and he picks that flower to offer to Thakurji. So now not only is the worm having the taste of the honey that is being the honey that is being from the flower, but then now he's also taking darshan of Thakurji, and not only that, now he's hearing kirtan and harikatha, and he's hearing the Maha Mantra, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram 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 Hare Hare. So like this, this worm, then that very flower then gets taken from the lotus feet of Thakurji and then taken to the Yamuna ji and deposited there.
यमुना जी में पहुंच के वो कीड़ा थोड़ा बड़ा होने लगा, पुष्ट होने लगा, टाइम बीतता चला गया, कीड़ा बड़ा हो गया, लेकिन उसको स्मरण क्या हो रहा है? वो कीर्तन स्मरण हो रहा है, ठाकुर जी का दर्शन स्मरण हो रहा है। वो देखते 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 वो पुष्ट हो रहा है, बड़ा हो रहा है और चिंतन कर रहा है उस कीर्तन का, सदैव कीर्तन किया करता है और उस दर्शन का स्मरण किया करता है। जब वो बड़ा हो गया, थोड़ा उसने वो गर्दन बाहर निकाली जैसे ही पानी में से, तो गरुड़ ने देखा कि आहा, मेरा आहार, माय फूड। उसने झपट्टा मारा उसको और तुरंत उसके प्राण निकल गए। लेकिन प्राण निकलते ही, वो शरीर छोड़ते ही उसको स्वरूप प्राप्त हो गया, जैसे ठाकुर जी जैसा स्वरूप प्राप्त हो गया, चतुर्भुज रूप में वो प्रकट हो गया, क्योंकि स्मरण कर रहा था वो। भगवत गीता में भगवान कहते हैं ना, तजते अंत कलेवरम, उसी का ध्यान करते करते जिस विषय का आप शरीर छोड़ते हैं वैसा शरीर प्राप्त हो जाता है, और उसको भी वैसा ही शरीर प्राप्त हो गया। अब गरुड़ जी उसको प्रणाम कर रहे हैं, उसकी परिक्रमा कर रहे हैं। ये तो भगवान का कोई भक्त है जिसको सारूप्य मुक्ति की प्राप्ति हो गई, और वो उनको बिठा के बैकुंठ को लेके जा रहे हैं। और यहाँ ये हमें ध्यान जो देना है वो इसी बात पे कि संसार रूपी मल में हम भी पड़े हुए जैसे कीड़े की तरह उसी संसार में भोग कर रहे थे, खा रहे थे, पी रहे थे। लेकिन गुरुदेव ने आके ऐसी करुणा की, ये उनकी करुणा ही है ना। उन्होंने हमें अपना बनाया। आओ, ये देखा है कभी? इसके बारे में सुना है कभी? नहीं महाराज, हम तो ये संसारी भोग रहे हैं, संसारी देख रहे हैं, संसार में रह रहे हैं। और गुरुदेव ने ले जाके ठाकुर जी के दर्शन भी करना सिखाया कि किस प्रकार दर्शन करते हैं ठाकुर जी का, किस प्रकार नाम लेते हैं, किस प्रकार कीर्तन करते हैं। और करते 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 अब जो है वो ये भी सिखा दिया कि अगर चिंतन यही बना रहेगा तो क्या होने वाला है वो ध्यान रखने वाले हैं।
So Prabhuji says that then this worm in the flower in Yamunaji is now thinking, as time is carrying on, and the worm is getting older, but during this whole time the worm is thinking about all of the kirtan, the beauty of Thakurji that he saw. He's remembering all of these things as time is going on.
He has become like a snake now.
Okay, so now he's grown in size also, and he's become like a snake. So he's coming out of the flower and into the Yamunaji itself. And at this point, a big fish is hogi?
No, Garudji.
Okay, comes to pick him. Okay, Guruji.
Yes.
Guruji. Yeah. Okay.
The food of Garuda is snakes. No?
Yeah. Right. So then Guruji picks this snake-looking like worm because it's so big now, and takes him to eat him. Right? खाने के लिए ले जाते हैं ना?
Yes. Yes. Yes.
Okay.
खाने के लिए जैसे ही झपट्टा मारा उसको प्राण निकल गए उसके. He leaves his body. As soon as he leaves his body, he becomes like Vishnu.
Yes. So then this worm is now in a position where he's now remembering all of these pastimes and just remembering the Thakurji whilst, and at the time of death, he at that very moment he remembers Thakurji and then gets the body of
just like Thakurji.
Just like Thakurji in Vaikunta. So Prabhuji is giving the example that we are also in the position of this worm, and that actually we are always living in this material world, absorbed in our own world, in the sense that we are always remembering things that are unrelated to Krishna, and we're so wrapped up in this world that we forget anything else. But then you have someone like Srila Gurudeva, who's like this beautiful bee, who feels sorry for us, but then always also gives us the remembrance that do you know the pastimes of Thakurji? Do you know how to do certain things? And he provides this for us, and so he gives us the opportunity to be able to really remember Thakurji and grow. So he's actually saved us in this material life. He saved us from this, and so Prabhuji is giving this example as a reference to how Srila Gurudev has saved us.
Yes. सचमुच ये तो सबका एक्सपीरियंस रहा कि जैसे लोग कहते हैं कि हमने गुरु धारण किया, we accepted Gurudev, but whereas Gurudev accepted all of us, we have no qualification to accept or to select or to do anything, but it is only the Gurudev who has this power to select, or he has the karuna, he has the affection for all the jivas, you know. ये उन्होंने हम लोगों को कहाँ से उठा के कैसे कैसे मटेरियल में पड़े हुए, कैसे कैसे विचारों में पड़े हुए, कैसे कैसे भावों में पड़े हुए, हमको सबको उसमें से निकाल के गुरुदेव ने अपनी गोद में बैठाया, और गुरुदेव ने हमको बड़ी प्यार से जो है नॉरिश किया, नर्चर किया, और हमें फिर जो है यही आदेश दिया कि अब यही जीवन है, यही जो भक्ति जो है, यही मनुष्य जीवन की सार्थकता जो है, उसकी जो वास्तविकता है वो यही है, इसके अलावा तो सब कुछ संसार जो है वो नाशवान है.
So Prabhuji is also saying that how Srila Gurudev, from all of us in different places of our lives, in different states, with so much love and affection, has taken us and put us on his lap and helped us, you know, has taken us out of this material world.
We never selected Gurudev. We never selected Gurudev. Gurudev
selected us. So also Prabhuji is saying that we were never in a position where we've taken initiation from Srila Gurudev. Actually, Gurudev has been so merciful that he's given us initiation. We have never been in a position where we're the ones that are choosing our gurus. Actually, Gurudev was so merciful that he chose us to be his disciples. So and then Prabhuji was speaking about how Gurudev, in our different places of in our different situations from our material world, still Gurudev came and put us on his lap and helped and held us there, and he holds us still now in getting us out of this well of darkness and bringing us into some sort of lightness.
मुझे तो वो सब समय याद आ गया सचमुच, जो है कि जब गुरुदेव श्रीला कर रहे थे, रमन बिहारी गौड़िया मठ में थे, और कितने ही डिवोटीज पूरे विश्व के कोने कोने से जो है वहां आए हुए थे। सुबह से लेके शाम तक कीर्तन होता था किस प्रकार, और माधव महाराज उनको रोकते रहते थे कि नहीं, बाहर मत जाओ, नहीं जाना, नहीं जाना, नहीं जाना। और गुरुदेव जबरदस्ती उठ के बाहर आ जाते थे और बड़े प्रेम से जो है सबको दर्शन देते थे और सबको आशीर्वाद देते थे। और किस प्रकार वो कहते थे कि इतने लोग मेरे को देखने के लिए आए हुए, मैं बाहर नहीं जाऊं, क्यों नहीं जाऊंगा, मैं जरूर जाऊंगा। और कैसी
So
कैसी लीला हम लोगों ने देखी है सब। हाँ,
Prabhuji is remembering the time when Gurudev wasn't feeling well and he had to stay in Raman Bihari Math in Delhi, and devotees from all around the world came to the Math, and they were doing so many beautiful kirtans, and because everyone's so worried about Srila Gurudev, so many beautiful kirtans and so much was going on. And Shripad Mother Maharaji was telling Gurudev that no, you cannot go out because you know everyone is not well. You're not well. But Gurudev by force was like, no, I'm going to go out and meet all of his disciples and the devotees. And so Gurudev, without hesitation, without any worry about his own health, would go out and meet with and give darshan to all of the disciples there.
मुझे याद है कि एक बार कुछ लोग आए हुए थे हरि नाम लेने के लिए, दीक्षा लेने के लिए, और गुरुदेव का स्वास्थ्य ठीक नहीं था, और उनको टाइम दिया गया था कि हाँ इस समय सुबह सुबह आप आ जाओ। और गुरुदेव को उस समय मेरे ख्याल यूरिन इन्फेक्शन हुआ था, फीवर था, और बहुत समय तक बैठना पड़ना था उनको, गुरुदेव को। और सुबह जब वो आ गए डिवोटीज दीक्षा लेने के लिए, तो डॉक्टर्स ने भी मना किया कि आपको नहीं ज्यादा देर बैठना चाहिए, और माधव महाराज भी बड़ा फोर्स कर रहे थे। तो गुरुदेव ने कहा कि मैं अपने इस शरीर के लिए जो है इतने सारे जीवों का कल्याण छोड़ दूं, ये नहीं हो सकता है। वो मेरे पास आए हैं दीक्षा लेने के लिए, फिर पता नहीं वो आ पाएंगे नहीं आ पाएंगे, कैसे होगा। तो गुरुदेव इतने करुणा उनके अंदर इतना था, अफेक्शन इतना था जीवों के कल्याण के प्रति, कि उन्होंने अपनी स्वास्थ्य की परवाह कभी नहीं की, और वो उठ के बाहर आ गए। और घंटों बैठकर गुरुदेव ने उनको वो यज्ञ भी संपन्न कराया, दीक्षा भी दी सबको, और पूरा एक एक जो वर्ड का मीनिंग समझाते थे वो भी समझाया स्वयं अपने आप से।
Gurudev, sorry, it just made me a bit emotional. Srila Gurudev, Prabhuji is also remembering one time when Gurudev was not feeling well. I think he may have had a urine infection, and at that time the doctors denied him that he shouldn't be sitting for so long, and so many other requirements that they had so that he could get better. And so those devotees lined up to take Harinam and Diksha at that time, and were given a time for them to take this Diksha. And Gurudev Gurudev at that point, everyone was refusing him to say no, but he said that these devotees, these people have come to see me to take Harinam and Diksha. Who knows when they will be able to actually ever have this opportunity again? And for that, I cannot risk that my health is coming in between them and their and them progressing in bhakti. So Prabhuji is just explaining how Gurudev. So it makes me feel very I know this is different, but it makes me feel very appreciative of Srila Gurudev, because even with all of this, he risked his own health. It didn't matter about his health. He didn't want to know about his health. He wanted that that all of the people of this world, or as many as he could, he would be able to take them out of this this Maya and bring them into the light of Brahm. And this is what Prabhuji is explaining, that this is what our Gurudev, who our Gurudev was.
जब हम लोग भी मिले गुरुदेव से 2004 में, हम लोग कथा सुनने जाते थे इस्कॉन में, और वहाँ हमारे एक मित्र ने बताया कि अगर कथा सुनने में आपको रुचि है, इफ यू आर इंटरेस्टेड इन हियरिंग हरि कथा, जस्ट गो टू करोल बाग एंड लिसन टू पूज्यपाद रोहिणी नंदन प्रभु. He took us to Karol Bagh, Rohini Nandan Prabhu's house, and when we met Rohini Nandan Prabhu, उनका तो कथा कहने का तरीका और कथा उनकी जो कह रहे थे वो दैट वाज अमेजिंग, वो अलग था. मतलब हमने वो कथा नहीं सुनी. चैतन्य महाप्रभु के बारे में इतना डीपली और चैतन्य महाप्रभु के भावों के बारे में इतना डीपली हमने पहले नहीं सुना था. और यहाँ सचमुच एक व्यवस्था जो है उसकी समझ में आती है कि बलराम प्रभु क्या चाहते हैं, बलराम प्रभु क्या व्यवस्था करते हैं कि कौन किसका गुरु होगा, कौन किसका शिष्य होगा. ये सारी की सारा अरेंजमेंट है दैट इज मेड बाय बलराम भगवान.
So Prabhuji is
अखंड गुरु
explaining,
तत्व, he makes arrangement.
Prabhuji is
एक second
explaining
और
how
because
we met. मैं भूल जाऊंगी otherwise.
okay.
Prabhuji just is saying how he met Srila Gurudeva for the first time, but he first went to Rohini Nandan Prabhu from Delhi. And when he met Rohini Nandan Prabhu, he explained so much wonderful Harikatha that I've never heard before about Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and his mission. And he spoke about Balaram and how he arranges for gurus to be given to different people in accordance to their own, in accordance to their qualification. So this is what was explained, that how Baladev Tattva and that Baladev Prabhu himself is choosing and arranging for this to happen.
ये मैंने इसलिए कहा क्योंकि हम लोग इतने सालों तक इस्कॉन में रहे और बहुत सारे महाराज लोग, पूज्यपाद गोपाल कृष्ण महाराज, पूज्यपाद लोकनाथ गोस्वामी महाराज, पूज्यपाद नवयोगेंद्र महाराज, पूज्यपाद राधा गोविंद महाराज, उनके साथ हमारा एसोसिएशन बहुत नजदीकी था, बहुत नजदीकी. लेकिन किसी ने हमें इतने सालों में ये नहीं कहा कि आओ मैं आपको हरिनाम दे देता हूँ या आपको हरिनाम लेना चाहिए. किसी ने नहीं कहा. इन दैट कॉन्टेक्स्ट आई सेड कि बलराम प्रभु अरेंजेस कि हु इज गोइंग टू द डिसाइपल ऑफ विच गुरु.
Okay, so
और यहाँ रोहिणी नंदन प्रभु से जब हमारी मुलाकात हुई तो yes, you can explain.
So then Prabhuji is explaining that the reason why he's told this very thing is because actually before Prabhuji and Mataji used to associate in ISKCON a lot, and they've spent many years and quite close relationships with Gopal Krishna Maharaj and many various ISKCON leaders, but none of them ever called them to take Harinam or take Diksha. No one ever encouraged that to happen. So he's explaining that actually this is the power and potency of Baladev Prabhu, is that actually everything is happening in accordance to his will.
हम लोग रोहिणी नंदन प्रभु के पास पहुंचे. 2 संडे हम लोगों ने वहां कथा सुनी. एवरी संडे इट वाज ए क्लास देयर. 2 संडे हमने क्लास सुनी. तीसरे संडे को कहने लगे कि हमारे गुरुदेव आ रहे हैं चेकअप के लिए, बत्रा हॉस्पिटल में जाएंगे तो वहीं रहेंगे 2 दिन, तो हम वहां जाके दर्शन कर सकते हैं. आप संडे को कल आओगे तो शाम को हम लोग चल रहे हैं वहां पे, आप चलना चाहोगे? हम दोनों पति पत्नी जो हैं शाम को अपना गाड़ी से गए रोहिणी नंदन प्रभु के साथ में वहां बत्रा हॉस्पिटल में, और गुरुदेव अंदर रूम में ऐसे आधे लेटे हुए थे. आधे लेटे हुए थे ऐसे, थोड़ा मतलब बैठे, जैसे आधे लेटे आधे बैठे थे. और हम लोग जैसे अंदर रूम में पहुंचे तो दंडवत प्रणाम किया ऑब्वियसली, और फिर गुरुदेव हमारी ओर देख रहे हैं ऐसे. एक शब्द भी हमने नहीं बोला, एक शब्द भी गुरुदेव ने नहीं बोला, और गुरुदेव ऐसे देख रहे हैं जैसे कह रहे हो कि आ गया. और हमें ऐसा लग रहा है कि हमारी पता नहीं कई जन्मों की जो है प्यास बुझ गई गुरुदेव का दर्शन करके, और हमें ऐसा लग रहा है कि हमें वो चीज मिल गई जिसकी हम तलाश में थे, हमें वो सब मिल गया. अब इसके बाद और कोई इच्छा जैसे मन में नहीं रह जाती है ना, वैसा हम अनुभव कर रहे हैं. और गुरुदेव ऐसे देख रहे हैं जैसे पूछ रहे हो आ गया इतनी देर से। और हम दोनों पति पत्नी की आंखों से आंसू झर रहे हैं खूब जोर से, ये सब गीला हो गया। बाहर निकल के आए रूम से तो रोनी नंदन पूछ रहे हैं भाई क्या हो गया, क्या हुआ क्या हुआ। मैं क्या, पूछो मत क्या हो गया, बस जो होना था वो तो आज हो गया बस।
Okay, so Prabhuji is saying that when they went to 2 Sunday classes of Rohini Nanda Prabhu's class, and then Rohini Nanda Prabhu explained that Srila Gurudev is coming to the hospital for 2 days because he has to do some checkups. So would you like to come and meet Srila Gurudev? To which they said yes. And so in the evening they went to go and see Srila Gurudev. And when they first entered the room, Prabhuji and Mataji, when they first entered the room and saw Srila Gurudev, Gurudev was sitting half upright on his bed, and Prabhuji and Didi, Mataji offered their Dandavat pranams, but there was silence. There was no conversation between them. But when they saw each other, it was Prabhuji is explaining that when they first saw each other for the first time, it was like all of the things that they were wishing for, all of the things that they were looking for in life, were all being fulfilled. And it was like everything was filling up to the brim and overspilling in their bucket of brim. Like, you know, they when they met Srila Gurudev, it was like everything was everything that they ever wanted and were seeking for was being fulfilled with Srila Gurudev. So when they left the room and they were crying in complete tears. They were in complete.
And so Gurudev was looking at us as we were, as he was asking, at last you have come.
Ah, so nice. So Gurudev,
as he was asking, yeah, aa gaya.
Oh, so okay. So Gurudev, when he was staring at them back, it was like Gurudev was just saying with just eyes that, oh, you have finally come to me. And in this exchange of glances, the Prabhuji saying that I was crying so much that my whole top was wet. And so when they came out of the room and Rohini Nanda Prabhu said, what's happened? Prabhuji said, whatever's happened, let it be. It's fine. What has happened for our good. So this is Prabhuji's explaining this connection.
When again Rohini Nanda Prabhu went into the room and met Gurudev, Gurudev asked him to call us for Diksha on Wednesday, just after 3 days.
Wow.
उसी के मतलब जब रोहिणी नंदन प्रभु बाहर आए वापस तो कहते हैं आपको बुधवार को गुरुदेव बुला रहे हैं, वहां मठ में आना है, आपकी दीक्षा होगी दोनों की.
So sweet. Prabhuji saying that 3 days, just Gurudev called Rohini Nanda Prabhu back into the room and said that 3 days you should call them for Diksha 3 days after I'll be in the Raman Bihari Gaudiya Math, so they can come and take initiation. Itna chota time span mein bol diya.
Yes.
बहुत लोग को बोल
The amazing thing और इतना ये आप देखिए कि सबसे जो आश्चर्यजनक बात है वो ये है कि इससे पहले रोहिणी नंदन प्रभु से मिलने से पहले मैंने गौड़िया मठ का नाम नहीं सुना था, गुरुदेव का नाम नहीं सुना था, नारायण महाराज का नाम नहीं सुना था, वहां पे कहीं पे भी गौड़िया मठ क्या होता है मेरे को नहीं मालूम था. और मैं केवल वहां कथा सुनने गया. चैंटिंग करते थे हम, हरिनाम चैंटिंग करते थे, लेकिन हरिनाम किसी ने नहीं दिया था, लेकिन और नाम भी नहीं सुना था. रोहिणी नंदन प्रभु से मिलने के बाद पता चला कि गौड़िया मठ क्या होता है, गौड़िया परंपरा क्या होती है. फिर उसके बाद जब दीक्षा हुई उसके बाद फिर रामचंद्र प्रभु ने हमको अपने से बिल्कुल क्लोजली एसोसिएशन में ले लिया. हम लोग फिर रोज वहां कथा सुनने जाने लगे, रमन बिहारी गौड़िया मठ. फिर तो सब बदल गया.
So Prabhuji is just explaining that before they came to Srila Gurudev, they didn't have no idea of any other mutts outside of ISKCON. Actually, they didn't know about Gaudiya Mutt. They didn't know about Srila Gurudev. They've never heard of this before. And then when they met Srila Gurudev, or when they met Rohinananda Prabhu, and they heard about the Gaudiya Mutts, and so much information was given to them about these different mutts and Gaudiya Mutt and Gurudev himself, that they were already chanting before, but now they had more understanding of what they were doing. So Srila Gurudev really has given that, and then after that, Ramchandra Prabhu has also helped, and they've got a really good close relationship with Ramchandra Prabhu as well, so that they have now, their life has completely changed from this meeting of Srila Gurudev. Bahut sundar. इतना अच्छा, मैं sorry, I'm just going to say something in Hindi, but इतना अच्छा लगता है कि सुनने में कि कितना गुरुदेव ऐसे थे, ऐसे सबके साथ थे, just, और ऐसा लग रहा था कि गुरुदेव मेरा है और सिर्फ मेरे है, कोई और के नहीं है.
Yes, yes. हाँ. कृष्ण को भी तो, राधा जी को भी तो कृष्ण ऐसे ही लगते हैं ना, और सब गोपियों को ऐसा लगते हैं कि कृष्ण मेरे ही साथ हैं और किसी के साथ नहीं है ना. तो ऐसा ही गुरुदेव के साथ भी था, सचमुच था. तो जितने भी ऑडियंस बैठी है सामने, 10,000 आदमी बैठा, तो हर आदमी को ये लग रहा है कि गुरुदेव मेरे को देख रहे हैं और मेरे से ही बात कर रहे हैं, मेरे को ही समझा रहे हैं. और एक बार जो बोल दिया वो जाके कील की तरह ठुक जाता था हृदय में कि हाँ, ये बात तो सत्य है. इस
So I was just saying to Prabhuji that,
और इतना सिंपल तरीके से,
I was just saying to Prabhuji that it's really beautiful to hear such beautiful pastimes with Srila Gurudev. It's like, I was just saying that for every devotee, it feels like that Gurudev is only mine and he can only see me, like we've said in this class before. And Prabhuji is saying that even in 10,000 people, like an audience of 10,000 people, it still felt like Srila Gurudev was only speaking to you in that crowd. And Gurudev's speciality was that he would be able to speak to anybody so closely and endearingly, and it would always feel like, no, this is my Gurudev and no one else's. And this was Gurudev's speciality, and anything that he said would hit your heart very boldly and then stay within your heart. It's something that Gurudev is very good at doing, is that he'll say something very simply, but it will pierce your heart in a way that you will always remember what he's just said. So Prabhuji, आप माता जी को आप बोलेंगे?
अभी मेरा वैसे दिल नहीं भरा है.
अच्छा, बोलो बोल दियो.
सभी लोग भागना शुरू हो जाएंगे अभी.
नहीं आप फिक्र मत करो. अभी ऐसा है, गुरुदेव के बारे में बोलना और गुरुदेव को याद करना, तो ऐसा है जैसे उसके लिए कोई टाइम लिमिट या कोई, जैसे परीक्षित महाराज कथा सुन रहे हैं ना सुखदेव गोस्वामी से, और उनकी लीलाओं को सुनना चाहते हैं, और सुनाइए, इसी से हमारा कल्याण होने वाला है, और सुनाइए, इसी से जीवों का कल्याण होने वाला. और ऐसी गुरुदेव के बारे में बोलना सुनना, अभी मेरे को बोलना शायद नहीं अच्छा लग रहा होगा, लेकिन जो मैं सुनता हूँ सबसे, अभी पीछे हमारे इंडिया में भी गुरुदेव की मधुर स्मृतियां जो चल रहा है, उसमें बहुत सारा टाइम हो गया, और एवरीडे, इट इज एवरीडे. तो उसमें भी सुनना इतना अच्छा लगता है कि दिल नहीं करता कि ये खत्म हो कभी इसको ये सुनते रहें गुरुदेव के बारे में, क्योंकि हरि कथा अनंता, वो उसमें कोई लिमिट है नहीं कि कितना है उनके बारे में. और गुरुदेव के इतने शिष्य और गुरुदेव की इतनी स्मृतियां लोगों के पास, वो सुन के ऐसा सचमुच गुरुदेव का दर्शन हम लोग आज कर पा रहे हैं. पहले शायद हम लोगों ने गुरुदेव का साक्षात अगर दर्शन किया तो वो दर्शन मेरे को लगता है वो छोटा था. अभी जो उनके बारे में सुनना जो है, दैट इज रियली ट्रू. मतलब वो सचमुच का दर्शन तो अब हो रहा है गुरुदेव का, कि कैसे मॉर्निंग वॉक्स में जाते थे, मॉर्निंग वॉक्स में क्या क्या बोलते थे, क्या क्या सुनने को मिलता था, क्या क्या व्यवहार होता था, वो तो अद्भुत है सब. Prabhuji saying that he doesn't feel fulfilled in speaking about Srila Gurudev, he wants to speak forever, and actually also wants to listen forever. It's because there's not a time limit that can time bound the experience anyone has with Srila Gurudev. No one will be able to bind you with time forever. And the India program that they've got of this version in Hindi, they're always listening to attentively, and it's like you just want to constantly keep hearing and hearing and hearing more and more and more, just like Parikshan Maharaji and Sukhdev Goswami is speaking, and Parikshan Maharaj is just listening and listening and listening, and the speaker is speaking and speaking without any break, and it's like this nectar is so unbroken, and it's like you don't want to stop that nectar from ever stopping. So Prabhuji is just explaining that this is what is happening, and actually I feel like that. Maybe I'm also like this. This is why we did the program.
We are also now we are realizing the real Gurudev. Now we are realizing the mood of Gurudev.
Yeah, and so Prabhuji also was explaining that the association that devotees had before and now what is happening is that by remembering these pastimes of Srila Gurudev, what he was like a morning walk, what he was like around the world, what he was like with other devotees, we're starting to really understand and grasp the concept of who Srila Gurudev was. And before, we weren't able to have these conversations. We weren't able to have a place to be having these conversations about Srila Gurudev. But now we can hear so much about Srila Gurudev. It's very, very beautiful that we've got a place to be able to come and hear, and not only hear, but also speak about Srila Gurudev.
फिर भी समय का ध्यान रखते हुए मैं आई कैन इमेजिन कि सब लोगों का टाइम बड़ा प्रेशियस है, 7 बज रहे हैं यहाँ पे, और आपका तो भी थोड़ा 2 घंटे 3 घंटे पीछे है, 4 घंटे हैं,
4-4.5 घंटे।
हाँ, तो मैं हैंड ओवर करता हूँ इसको इंदु जी को।
Thank you. So Prabhuji is now going to
Hare Krishna. दंडवत प्रणाम सभी वैष्णव को चरणों में दंडवत।
माता जी आपका वॉल्यूम नहीं आ रहा है। प्रभुजी के पास वॉल्यूम नहीं आ रहा। प्रभु जी के पास दूसरा ये पीस है ना, इसलिए प्रभु जी का
मैं वही कहने लगा था, मैं वही कहने लगा था कि एक ना बुजुर्ग दंपति थे, तो बूढ़ा खाना खा रहा था, तो बुढ़िया पंखा झल रही थी, फिर बुढ़िया खाना खा रही थी तो बूढ़ा पंखा झल रहा था। और थोड़ी देर में दोनों लड़ रहे थे बड़े अच्छे से। तो पड़ोसियों ने पूछा, अभी तो आप एक दूसरे को पंखा झल रहे थे, खाना खिला रहे थे, और अभी लड़ाई कर रहे हो। कहते लड़ाई तो हमारी नित्य होती है, वो हमारी मजबूरी है कि हमारे पास दांतों का सेट एक ही है। पहले वो लगा लेती है, वो खाती, फिर मैं खाता।
So Prabhuji is just saying a joke in Hindi about an old woman and an old man who used to fan each other whilst one of them used to eat, and then then afterwards they used to start fighting, and then so the next door neighbor was like, why are you fighting so much? And then they said that, you know, this is our eternal nature, is to fight, but it's just that the unfortunate thing is that we are having to use the same set of dentures to eat. That's the only reason that we are sharing and being nice to each other. Thank you. Okay, Mataji, आप बोलिए।
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna. Om Agyantimidandhasya Gyananjan Shalakya Chakshurunvilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namah. Namo Vishnupadaya Radhikaya Priyatmane Shri Srimad Bhakti Vedanta Narayan Goswami Iti Namine Shri Krishna Leela Kathaniye Sudaksham Audade Madhurve Gunescha Yuktam Padam Badanyam Purusham Mahantam Narayan Tvam Shirsa Namami. Namo Mahavadanyaya Krishna Prema Pradayate कृष्णाय कृष्ण चैतन्य नाम्नि गौतुषे नमः। हे कृष्ण करुणा सिंधु दीन बंधु जगतपते गोपेश गोपिका कांत श्री राधा कांत नमस्तुते। तप्त कांचन गौरांगी राधे वृंदावनेश्वरी वृषभानु सुते देवी प्रणमामि हरि प्रिये। वृंदाए तुलसी देव्याय प्रियाय केशवस्य च कृष्ण भक्ति प्रद देवी सत्यवते नमो नमः। वांछा कल्पतरुवैश्य कृपा सिंधुभ्येव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्त वृंदा। हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे। हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे। सबसे पहले मैं अपने परम पूज्य नित्य लीला प्रविष्ट ओम विष्णुपाद लक्ष्य नारायण महाराज जी के चरणों में दंडवत प्रणाम करती हूँ। फिर सभी वैष्णव वैष्णवियों के चरणों में मेरा यथा योग्य दंडवत प्रणाम स्वीकार करें। प्रभु जी ने बहुत टाइम ले लिया तो मैं एक कीर्तन करके ही समाप्त कर दूं क्योंकि सबका समय बड़ा कीमती है।
आप कुछ भी बोलिए, थोड़ा सा भी स्मरण आपके पास है, आप थोड़ा सा भी बोलिए।
मेरे गुरुदेव ने हमारे ऊपर अपार कृपा करी है। उनकी कृपा का मैं कहाँ तक बयान करूं, मैं उसके योग्य भी नहीं हूं उनकी कृपा का बयान करूं। प्रभु जी ने मेरे को पहले इस्कॉन ले जाते थे, पहले हम भक्ति करते थे पर हमें अपना लक्ष्य मालूम नहीं था। हम सभी देवी देवताओं की पूजा करते थे, कभी भी हमें ये नहीं पता था कि कृष्ण की ही पूजा सर्वोपरि है। हम मंदिरों में जाते थे, दर्शन करते थे। फिर उसके बाद हमने इस्कॉन मंदिर में जाना शुरू किया, पंजाबी बाग। वहां जाते थे, वहां जाके प्रसाद पाते थे, आरती कथा आरती कीर्तन सुनते थे, बड़ा आनंद आता था। उसके बाद फिर हमने वहां कथा सुननी शुरू करी। कथा सुनी, पहले तो कथा में बिल्कुल रुचि नहीं थी, उसके बाद उसमें रुचि बन गई थोड़ी, फिर तो रेगुलर कथा सुनने जाने लगे। आप ट्रांसलेट करेंगी, मैं थोड़ी देर
माता जी विपिन प्रभु वो ट्रांसलेट करेंगे हमारे लिए।
Yeah, right. So I hope my voice is audible, right?
Yeah, is. तो
Right.
माता जी विपिन प्रभु ट्रांसलेट करेंगे आपके लिए, ठीक है?
So Mataji said that earlier they used to worship many demigods, and Prabhuji first used to take her to ISKCON, and that's how they came in contact with Krishna consciousness. They didn't know what was the actual goal of life before coming to Srila Gurudev. So initially when they started going to Srila Gurudev's Harikatha, then they were, she said that initially she did not have a lot of interest, but as she started going more, she was able to understand the true meanings of the Harikatha of Srila Gurudev. Mataji, boliye aap.
धीरे धीरे कथा में इतनी रुचि बन गई कि हमें ये होता था कि जल्दी से जल्दी हम कथा में जाएं, कथा में रुचि इतनी बन गई। और उसके बाद हमारे साथ एक प्रभु जी थे, संजय प्रभु, उन्होंने बोला कि ऐसे ऐसे आप वहां जाओ, करोल बाग रोहिणी प्रभु जी की कथा सुन के आओ संडे को। हम उसके बाद वहां रोहिणी प्रभु जी की कथा सुने तो हमें वहां बहुत अच्छा लगा।
So as we started going to hear Srila Gurudev's lectures, we started to understand the real meaning of life. And one devotee called Sanjay Prabhu, he said that you should go to a place in Delhi where Srila Gurudev's moods are being expressed by Sripad Rohinandan Prabhu. So we would go to his house and we would listen lectures, and that's how we started engaging more in hearing Harikatha or the moods of Srila Gurudev.
रोहिणी प्रभु जी की कथा सुनने पे उन्होंने हमें रमन बिहारी गौड़ीय मठ जनकपुरी में जो था, वहां हमें उन्होंने कहा कि आप वहां कथा सुनने जाया करो रामचंद्र प्रभु जी की। उसके बाद हम जैसे ही गुरुदेव से मिल के आए बत्रा हॉस्पिटल में, उसके बाद हमारा वहां जाना शुरू हो गया, कथा सुनना। गुरुदेव के साथ जब भी गुरुदेव दिल्ली आते थे तो बड़ा अच्छा लगता था, कथा करते थे। पर सबसे बड़े दुख की बात यह है कि मैं क्लास में पीछे पीछे बैठती थी, आगे नहीं बैठती थी। जैसे झेप थी ना गुरुदेव से, तो उस आनंद को मैं मतलब जैसे नजदीक जाके गुरुदेव का स्पर्श भी नहीं कर पाई, उनसे बात भी नहीं कर पाई। तो ऐसे लगता था कि भाई हम अभी इस काबिल ही नहीं है कि गुरुदेव के सामने आने के।
Right. So,
और वो जो दुख है
Shripad,
ना, वो मेरे मन में बहुत जबरदस्त है।
okay. So when we used to go to hear from Sripad Rohinandan Prabhuji, he advised us to go to Shriman Bihari Gaudiya Math to hear the lectures of Sripad Ramchandra Prabhu. And whenever Srila Gurudev would come to Delhi, we would go to hear from Srila Gurudev. The greatest pain which I have in my heart is that when Srila Gurudev would speak Harikatha, I would always stay in the back. It was like there was awe and reverence and fear from Gurudev. I wanted to sit in the front and relish and taste those Nekatarian Leela of Srila Gurudev, but I never sat right in front of Gurudev, so I miss those moments. Wish I had been right at the front, right under the nose of Srila Gurudev and hearing those beautiful pastimes.
मठ में तो मैं रेगुलर जाती थी, प्रभु जी के साथ कथा सुनती थी, गुरुदेव की कथा सुनती थी, कीर्तन होता था, भक्त लोग खूब नाचते थे, बड़ा आनंद लेते थे। सुबह मॉर्निंग वॉक में भी जाते थे, पर रहती बहुत पीछे पीछे थी। बस मेरे मन का वो दुख जो है ना, वो आज मुझे बहुत तंग कर रहा है कि मैं उस टाइम गुरुदेव का वो सुअवसर प्राप्त नहीं कर पाई और मैं उससे वंचित रह गई।
Right. So I would also go to the morning walks with Srila Gurudev. I would also attend the programs regularly. But even if I would attend those programs regularly and being with Srila Gurudev in morning walk, just like my presence in Harikatha was right at the back, even in morning walks, I would stay right at the back. So I miss those moments, wish those days come back and I would get the opportunity to be in the front at this time.
गुरुदेव जब अस्वस्थ लीला कर रहे थे तो हम मठ में सारा दिन वहीं रहते थे। वहाँ कीर्तन कथा, सब फॉरेनर डिवोटीज भी आए हुए थे, इंडियन डिवोटीज भी थे, सब वहाँ बड़ा आनंद होता था। और हमारे घर फॉरेनर्स डिवोटी रहने भी आए थे, हमारे पास रहे थे आके घर में, बहुत अच्छा लगा। तब जाके मेरी थोड़ी प्रीत बनी गुरुदेव से। और उसके थोड़े टाइम बाद ही गुरुदेव हमें छोड़ के नित्य लीला में प्रविष्ट हो गए। उसकी वजह से थोड़ा मन दुखी रहने लगा कि ये क्या किया मैंने, अपना जो है इतना अच्छा टाइम जो था, गोल्डन टाइम था, हमारे मठ में तो बहुत टाइम रहे हैं और मैं उस टाइम को खराब कर बैठी।
I feel that I missed the opportunity because many foreign devotees used to come and stay at Sri Raman Bihari Gaudiya Math. We would go to the programs, we see devotees dancing and singing. It was such a golden period. And I kind of believe, but very soon Srila Gurudev started performing his sickness pastimes. During Gurudev's sickness pastime in Delhi, I would be there, we all would be there at the temple all throughout. Many devotees were there singing kirtans, as we all know. But I still feel that since Srila Gurudev disappeared so quickly, I mean, as for me, wish I had taken more advantage of those moments. So that pain is there in my heart all the time. And my heart feels very heavy, thinking about this.
गुरुदेव के जाने के बाद जो है मठ में जाना और ज्यादा बढ़ गया, वैष्णव लोगों से मिलना और बढ़ गया, कथा सुनती थी, सब महाराज लोग आते थे। दिल्ली में तो बहुत आनंद था, कथा होती रहती थी, कीर्तन कथा सत्संग सब होता रहता था। तो गुरुदेव का वो जो सुख है वो मैं नहीं पा पाई। उसके बाद वैष्णव लोगों से मिलना होता रहा, कथा से, पर मैंने ये कहा कि ये गुरुदेव ने उन वैष्णवों के से मिलके मेरे ऊपर कृपा कर दी। जो वैष्णव लोग इतनी कथा करते थे, वो दिल में, मतलब मैं ये सोचती हूँ कि गुरुदेव के शिष्य इतने ऊंची स्थिति में है तो गुरुदेव क्या होंगे।
So I think that Srila Gurudev has shown his mercy by making me come in contact with all these Vaishnavas. As we all know, that Delhi Math is always filled with so many Vaishnavas coming and speaking Harikatha. And when they speak Harikatha, I kind of feel connected with them. But at times I also feel that if the disciples of Srila Gurudev are at such a high level, then what would be the position of Gurudev?
बस मैं यही अपना वक्तव्य समाप्त करती हूँ कि मेरे ऊपर आप सभी वैष्णव लोग कृपा करें कि मेरे को वो मिल जाए जो आप सबने पाया.
So I pray at the to all the Vaishnavas who are assembled here that you all remain merciful to me and I attain what all is being attained by you in your own individual practices. Hare Krishna.
हरे कृष्णा दंडवत प्रणाम सभी वैष्णव वैष्णवियों के चरणों में दंडवत प्रणाम.
माताजी आप जैसे बोला है इतनी शॉर्ट स्पैन में सब कुछ बोला गुरुदेव के हृदय में.
मैंने कहा प्रभु जी ने ज्यादा टाइम ले लिया, मैं थोड़ा कम ले लूं ताकि सब जो है इसलिए मैंने उसको शॉर्ट में बोल दिया. मेरे पास
आपके पास इतना मधुर की बात बोल रहे हो माताजी, ऐसा लग रहा है कि गुरुदेव आपकी निकट बिल्कुल है. ऐसा नहीं लग रहा है कि आपके पास कोई डिस्टेंस है गुरुदेव के पास. हम लोग शास्त्र सब कुछ जान सकते हैं, पर जो लोग गुरुदेव के हृदय में बैठ के रखते हैं वो लोग गुरुदेव की सच में निकट ले आते हैं. तो जब मैं सुन रही थी आपके बारे में मेरे को ऐसा लग रहा है कि गुरुदेव आपकी साथ में है, आपके पास है. और ऐसा लग रहा है कि थोड़ा सा मेरे से थोड़ा सा एसोसिएशन आपका मिलेगा तो मैं बढ़ूंगी भक्ति में. ऐसा नहीं है कि जो सिर्फ एक मैं हूँ और आप हो, सब लोग ऐसा भी है. पर मेरे को लग रहा है कि हाँ गुरुदेव मेरी पूरी परिवार मेरे लिए छोड़ दिया और आप एक हो.
तो मैं कह रही हूँ इस परिवार के सब सदस्यों का जो है ना, मेरे को थोड़ा थोड़ा भी आशीर्वाद मिल जाए तो पता नहीं शायद मेरी कहीं उद्धार हो जाए. आपकी इतने बड़े बड़े वैष्णव हैं सब. हाँ मेरे से तो सारे ही सीनियर है.
मैं बोलती हूँ. So Didi Mataji saying that she just is asking for all of the disciples and God brothers and sisters of Srila Gurudev and everyone else to bless her, just give her a little bit of mercy. Not that I don't think that she needs, but anyways, just to give her a little bit of mercy so that she can just have that semblance of devotion towards Srila Gurudev. And I was just saying to Didi that I feel like in the short span of time that she's spoken so beautifully. It's so full of nectar and honey that it's just so wonderful. Everything that she spoke in that short time is like unraveling the whole of everything Gurudev came to give. So मेरी कोटि दंडवत प्रणाम आप दोनों की.
दंडवत प्रणाम.
और जब आपको
सबके चरणों में दंडवत प्रणाम.
माताजी और प्रभु जी, आपको कभी ऐसा लगता है कि मेरे से थोड़ी सी कृपा देने जाते हो तो मेरे को अभी मैं एक्चुअली मूव कर रही हूँ इंडिया. तो फरीदाबाद और वृंदावन का बीच में रहूंगी. तो आप कभी मेरे गुरुदेव की कृपा से मैं आपको मिलूंगी पर्सनली और हम थोड़ा टाइम स्पेंड कर सकते हैं. और आप मेरे को
आप आके ठहर सकते हैं हमारे यहाँ.
मैं जस्ट
आप हमारे यहाँ आके ठहर भी सकते हैं, कोई दिक्कत नहीं है इसमें. हाँ
जस्ट आपकी एसोसिएशन और आपकी मेमोरीज गुरुदेव के बारे में मेरे को
ये बंद कर दे, ये चालू कर दे.
Okay, so we are now at the end of our class for today. And so I don't know if you showed it on the Prabhu's not there. Okay, fine. So we're at the end of our class today. I just want to say a big thank you to all of our wonderful speakers that have come and spoken on this beautiful program. We are really fortunate that every week, somehow or another, we are hearing more and more different Harikatha or memories of Srila Gurudev, each one being so sweet within itself and have like Srila Gurudev has its own has its own speciality. So I'm feeling very fortunate to be able to sit here and in front of my family and thanking everyone to coming and sharing their beautiful memories with us on this program. So we look forward to seeing you next week, and hoping that you all come next week to join us again to hear some more memories of Srila Gurudev. Because we're running out of time, we won't end with Kirtan, but yeah, so my Dandavat pranams to everyone. Vanchakalpatarupisha kripa sindhu bevicha patidanam pavanibhyo vaishnavibhyo namo namaha. Srila Gurudev ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Srila Bhaktivedanta Vaman Goswami Maharaj ji ki jai, and Srila the whole entire Rupanuga Guru Varga ki jai.
Jai.